What's going on, you two world? Michael, Vincenzo, Steve, I'm Dave. IRP 220. One of the worst nights to have him on is Tuesday night with anything political, because usually people's viewership goes that way, but that's all right. We'll continue on trucking as we normally do. You can watch it in the archive if you're not here to join, or you want to dip out and educate yourself on intelligent banter. But tonight, talk about some toys.
Intelligent? Did you just say intelligent?
Tongue and in or cheek.
Okay. Gotcha. Just trying to clarify.
Between the cheeks.
Yeah. Which is where everybody's going to be taking it pretty soon. So
these are facts.
I've even got like the closed captioning on, so I don't really want to listen to. I mean, I know what's going to be fun, but so yeah, talk about some toys, because over the weekend I was notified by a couple, the guys up this way, that Mask finally, after many years, they're coming back out with the toys, or the re-release basically of everything, and not everything per se, but it's going to be the stuff that we had as kids coming back in better versions that hopefully won't break, snap, deteriorate, or roughhouse play.
So in other words, you won't ever be interested in acquiring what I have.
Oh, what do you think?
I'm just asking the question.
If anybody knows me and knows me well, I mainly collect. I wish there was like the side camera now for like the SNL vintage toy.
No repops.
No. And again, I'd have to see the SRP on like what they're coming out with, because I have not seen any of that. I've not done any deep dive. I'm not going to do any deep dive. It's at some point I'll figure it out, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and worry myself with that.
It does make me wonder, though, if they're re-releasing them, is that going to help the original, or is it going to hurt the original?
I don't know.
Food for thought. It could go either way. Like I could see it going either way, because you look at like Star Wars, for instance. Like they've re-released Star Wars on multiple iterations and continue to release Star Wars figures like all the time.
Yeah.
It hasn't hurt the 80s versions, the originals of when they released back in those days, all the way into, or even the 70s for that matter. Like I don't even know when the first Star Wars figure was released.
1977.
Okay, thank you.
I was going to say 76, but yeah.
Might have been 76, but 77, I'm pretty sure.
Don't hold us to that, but like I'll give you both credit. Like I had a feeling it was probably going to be in the 70s, but I didn't want to say the 70s, and then somebody be like, "No, you're wrong." But newer stuff hasn't hurt the original. Transformers hasn't hurt the original. Granted, like I'm speaking for you and I, Dave. Like we loved Mask.
1978.
Okay. We loved Mask. Loved it. Still do, for that matter. But I still think that was a smaller niche of a toy space than like Transformers and, He-Man and G.I. Joe and all that other kind of stuff. But
it'll be the people who played and watched that show as a kid buying them for their kids now. Well, hoping to get them interested in it.
Because it won't be, it doesn't have obviously the reach of a G.I. Joe. It doesn't have the reach of Transformers.
Star Wars,
Star Trek type stuff. I don't even know if they had that, like Thundercats even. It seemed like that was popular. I mean,
that was one of mine.
Like when people talk about, yeah, it's and you had like the re-releases in like that coincided with a movie or something, but
Yeah.
like even Transformers, I had a few of those, but I don't remember. And again, not to say that I didn't sit there and look and scour a Target, a KB, a Toys R Us, a Walmart, whatever, but I wasn't sitting there and searching like for like okay, the Matchbox size stuff. It's that Bart Starr guy, good friend Joey.
That's been a while. How's it going, Joey?
Because all that stuff was metal. Everything was metal of the die cast. I don't know what year they swapped over to like the plastic. It started like the plastic base and then started more with the plastic components of the actual body of the car itself.
Yep.
But I don't remember.
85 to 88 was Mass Toys.
And most of the stuff that was quote unquote popular was at 85, 86. Because I've looked up like the 3rd series, the 4th series, and there's stuff I'm like, I've never even seen that. I don't remember this from the cartoon because the cartoon I think only went to 1 or 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was probably one of those in which they were just trying to keep the toys going because they were probably already in production, thinking that things were going to continue.
Yeah, it went from 85 to 86.
Yeah, I knew the show didn't last long. That
No.
I remember.
Ask, remember Brave Star?
No.
That one doesn't ring a bell to me.
He was it was like a cowboy. He was he had strength of the bear, something of the hawk, speed of the puma, eyes of the hawk, speed of the puma. He was Native American or Native Alien American. I don't know how you would say it. They were aliens. But he had a steel horse, and then it was Mask, then Centurions. When Centurions, they had like they were humans, and then they would get like armor put on them, and then Silverhawks, which were these guys were turned into metal hawks. They were humanoids, and they went into space to fight a guy. And then what's the other one here? I'm trying to read this, and they don't have it all together.
The only difference is we're not giving our top 5 yet. We're just actually talking about it as a generalized topic.
Galaxy Rangers. There it is. I saw the picture. I couldn't think of the name. Galaxy Rangers. That was all. I love Galaxy Rangers and Robotech.
Robotech, I remember.
Oh, those were some of my favorites.
Robotech, I remember.
Yeah. And Voltron.
I remember Voltron.
Oh yeah.
Because I was big into playing with swords as a kid. So
makes sense.
I had the Thundercat sword, which is my favorite of all time.
Yep, I had that one.
But my parents bought me the Voltron sword, and I wanted them to cut the wings off the top of it so it was just one solid sword because I hated the little spikes that stuck out of it. It looked more like a pitchfork than a sword to me. But yeah, the Thundercat sword was one of my favorite things I owned.
Yeah, I could see that. Thundercats was pretty big.
I don't remember having a lot of the toys. I maybe only had Lion-O when it came from Thundercats. Mainly what I had was He-Man, Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joe.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's Thundercats, He-Man. Remember Gem, the singer?
Yeah.
Yep. Spectre Gadget, Smurfs, Heathcliff.
Yeah, but
remember Thundar the Barbarian?
No.
Can't say I remember that.
He burst his bonds with Ukla and the lady girl. I forget what it was. 1980, 2 seasons.
Okay, yeah, so I would have been 1.
I wasn't born.
The real Ghostbusters, She-Ra, DuckTales, Chip and Dale,
Yeah, but so that
Littles.
I correspond those more with some of the cartoons growing up
Yeah.
as a kid, not necessarily the
Yeah, they
action figures
didn't
and
actually have
toys.
full toy runs.
Yeah.
Some of them did. Some
Yeah.
of them did. But
You had like Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, shit like that. I mean, that like, I don't, Smurfs. That was more of like, I'm guessing, just like the little fucking
The blue guys,
little
like gummy
figures.
bears.
Yeah, just the individual ones, and I think I think a lot of those were like fast food giveaways.
Yeah,
Either that or like a
Probably.
cereal. You bought some fucking tricks or something. You got that in the cereal.
Yeah.
That,
Bob Lewis
Yeah.
probably has a ton of them.
yeah,
Yeah,
I could see McDonald's giving something like that away.
See the gummy bear.
yeah, I don't remember.
Burger
Like
King
you-
had Flintstones.
Yep.
Okay.
But you
I
didn't
know
have.
that because at my mom's house we still have the actual glasses that they would sell. If you bought a meal, you could have the glass for like $2.
Yep.
I
And you had
believe
the
it
whole
or not,
collection. My mom still has them.
I stumbled across a box while condensing in all that kind of shit in preparation to move. I found glasses, some from McDonald's, some I don't know exactly where they came from, but from the 70s of like Bambi and freaking, and I'm going, I don't remember us ever having these fucking things, but I'm kind of glad that I do because who knows? But I want to say 16 or 17 different glasses of various like Disney characters and stuff along those lines. Some from the 70s, most like from the 80s.
Mhm.
But I was like, this is kind of fucking cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Rick, there has been no weather topics and no food to this point. We actually started somewhat on the topic this evening, which is as it was put by Joe, the Twilight Zone.
I only have one toy I still play with from my childhood, and that's my pecker.
Well,
My dang.
Everything else disappeared at yard sales or to other kids that my mom gave away. She gave away all my Matchbox and Ninja Turtles and G.I. Joes and all that stuff.
My mother's mother threw them away. Rest her soul.
Oh.
well, I mentioned it on the show. My mom gave away all my Transformers, He-Man, and G.I. Joe stuff to one of her coworkers' kids because like she could never afford any of that shit. So the only thing I have left from my childhood is my mask. I have some Rambo stuff.
Oh, nice.
And then I have like a small handful of the Transformer cassettes, and then like the small mini airplane things that were like sendaways.
Mhm.
And then I had, yes, that's the cassettes that would have gone in Shockwave. That is correct.
I remember having the Rambo figures, they're like the 6 or 8 inch ones. But
That's what they are.
When you mentioned Rambo, the thing that popped into my head and I hadn't thought about in years was, you remember when you go to the toy aisle and they had giant cardboard things with blister packs on the front of it, and it was all like Chuck Norris, where you got a belt that had bullets on it. It came with a knife. It came with all that stuff.
Yep.
Those were the coolest things in the world to me.
Those were my things.
I loved that stuff. And my dad would always get me that stuff.
Yep. So we had Hess's department store. I don't know if you guys had Hess's or not.
Mm-mm.
So we rolled in there one day and there was a display of lightsabers. 3 green, 3 blue, 3 red. My dad goes, how much? They're like, it's $16 per lightsaber. My dad's like, you don't understand. I want the effing display and all the stuff that's in it. And the guy was like, well, no one's ever asked. Let me get a manager. And he's like, Well, we just throw the thing away, so I guess you could take it all. So he gets all of it,
Hell yes.
buys all of it. A year later, my grandma, my mom's mom, rest in peace. I'll say it again. It hurts my heart. She got a hacksaw and she cut him up because she thought we were going to beat each other with them.
Oh shit!
And she threw away the display because my dad had it upstairs in our storage room. And can you just imagine what that stuff's worth today? So he would buy 3 action figures. We'd open them, one for each of us, me and my 2 brothers. And then he would buy 3 and put them away. She got them all and threw them away. I had all the 77 before I was born. No, 78. Yeah. No, 78. Yeah. So he would buy them before I was embryonic. And he would put them away. He said he was going to have 3 sons, so he would buy 6 of them. And he had 3 sons.
Man.
And she threw all of them away.
Yeah, that's.
Millennium Falcons.
Sounds like the no fun police.
I
Dude,
can at least say that
He
nothing
bought
was
3
thrown away.
Millennium Falcons in the box. I remember them.
Oof.
My shit was given away. But I digress.
Hurts my heart.
Outside of Mask, I think I had the most He-Man shit. Because I had both castles, I had both cats, I had, it was borderline almost everything that could ever, or that was ever produced in the early runs of He-Man.
I remember my brother having a hissy fit in the middle of Hills department store. Did you guys have Hills?
No.
So Hills is where the toys are. Bob Lewis, you know where the toys are. They're at Hills. My cousin actually worked at Hills, and so did my aunt.
Toys R Us for me, man.
Yeah, but Hills was like the Walmart of its day for us.
Okay.
And I remember him throwing a fit because my dad was like, I'm going to buy Castle Grayskull for all you. And then when I get paid in 2 weeks, I'll get Snake Mountain. Well, my brother just lost his crap because he wanted it in his name. It was his, my middle brother. And well, my dad was like, he looked at me. I said, he could have it. I don't give 2 craps. Whatever. I said, buy me a toy cap gun. That's all I want. That's what my thing was.
Oh, cap guns. Boy, do I
Cap
remember
guns
those
were
too.
fun.
That was my thing. So,
And had the cap guns that were made of 20 pounds of solid metal.
Yes.
I got in trouble because when we were in Indiana, in the trailer park we lived in at the time, I hit the neighbor kid in the head with said cap gun. That was metal. And apparently he bled. I don't remember. But that got taken away from me and I was not allowed to have it back.
Well, and of course, let's talk about the differences in the cap guns, though, because you had the cap guns that were the rolls,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had the ones that were the plastic discs.
Yep.
And you had small ones and you had big ones.
Yep.
they're not here. Oh, here they are. Ha ha! Success.
Really? We can hear you, by the way.
I know you can.
Okay. I was just making sure you knew. He obviously found something.
So this is my grandfather's
big.
stuff from World War II. But it smells like World War II.
Oh, nice.
It's missing that part of it, but this is mine.
No.
You can buy a lot of the missing parts on eBay if you actually bother to take the time to find them.
There's the one from Return of the Jedi. Oh, I got 2 of them. Aha. I got 2 of them.
Both missing the doors.
Yep. And you could see where I put tape on them. Black. My dad would put electrical tape.
Yeah.
They take C batteries.
Damn.
Oh, I got 2 of these suckers too. See, these were cool. They learned their lesson. See, there's this. So you don't lose them
Got
like
a tether
shoe.
to it.
Yeah. I don't have all of them. I have some of them. That was my grandpaps from the old country.
Civil War.
There's my Walther Big P38 Laramie. What's the name of the brand? Where is it?
Excuse me.
Oh, here it is. There it is. A Ruger Mark II. See, cracked. This is one of the first ones I had. Still shoots. And it had a lion on it.
Very cool.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, that's a lot of them broke. Like here's a 6-shooter with this is missing. But there's
but that's all metal, man.
yeah. Pony Boy Express. But yeah.
That one took the roll caps. Came up through the top.
Here's my grandpa's driver's license. From 19 driver's number expires 1987. It was 1983. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I knew I had this somewhere close. This is even remotely what I had because, like I said, a lot of it got thrown away. And I hid stuff at my grandma's house, my other grandma. And that's about what we got. But hey, what a way to go into the toy segment.
Well, if we're doing show and tell.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Don't worry, Dave. I got you. I got it. I don't want you to work too hard.
Yeah.
This is off topic. But
that's okay because
it's just the way the show is.
Exactly. So it wouldn't be the same if we didn't go up topic somewhere.
This right here is something that I kept quiet from you gentlemen that I was working on. And I don't really need to say words.
Holy fuck me.
Yeah. This
Holy
arrived.
Fuck me.
This arrived today. It was overnighted yesterday.
Well
Holy
then.
fucking shit.
Yeah.
Are you the
That's-
driver for
so
Flag
cool.
now?
That's pretty much how I feel. But yeah, I wanted to I didn't want to let you guys know that I was working on a deal for it and that it happened and that I was going to be getting it because I wanted to surprise you all on the stream.
Fuck me, man. Congratulations, dude.
That's a nice one, Michael.
Thank you very much.
That's a cool one. I take it it's a one of one.
Very much so. From first year National Treasures pre-Panini. This is Donruss
2006.
playoff. And listen to the blurb on the back of this card. The enclosed piece of jersey was cut from an authentic jersey personally worn by Brett Favre in an official NFL game. The authentic... Oh, I can't read that.
Get your glasses out.
Oh, okay. It's all in calligraphy. But it says the authentic game-worn jersey was obtained and is guaranteed by Donruss Playoff LP. And next to the logo, the patch window, it actually says game-worn NFL logo.
Just like the TD that I missed.
Indeed, it is. Luckily, this ended up in the hands of one of my great friends in this hobby, and he's had it for the last almost 2 years. And he told me it's been about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that somebody was coming to his house and he was selling everything. He was selling all he had repainted the house, so all his stuff that hung on the walls and all his memorabilia and everything was down off the walls. And he goes, if I'm ever getting rid of it, it's now because I'm too lazy to ship. So he called somebody in and he goes, I'm going to have him look at cards too. He goes, are you going to be upset if I don't own this anymore? And I said, yeah, I am. And
what do you want for it?
Huh?
What do you want?
Well, I knew what the price was all along. I've known all along that I could buy it anytime I wanted to. If I just said, hey, I'm ready for it. Here's the money. And he kind of put me to the, okay, I got to shit or get off the pot. But he told me, he goes, if you want it, he goes, you can have till Christmas to pay it off. I don't care. Just say that you want it. I go, done. And then I had it. I didn't want to take any money out of my bank account for it. So I sold. And I put tons of stuff up for sale. And once I actually ended up selling more than what I needed, but I cut it off. There was stuff that was for sale that people wanted to buy, and I go, it's no longer available. It's going back in the PC box. I just wanted to sell enough to get this bought. And
so I have to ask, though, what did you have to give up in order to acquire it?
Whew. Well,
I'm guessing some Rogers, some I'm guessing it's not clay stuff.
I did not. I sold my clay shield.
Okay.
I sold my clay shield. I sold the AJ Hawk shield.
Okay.
I sold one Favre auto, but it was the newest one I had gotten, that flawless one. I'm like, they're gonna keep making flawless Favre shit for 100 years, so I didn't care. And what else did I sell? Oh, I sold my two clay superfractors, the full size and mini auto that I've been trying to sell forever and just couldn't get them sold.
From 2015?
2015.
Yeah, 2015.
Okay.
Yep. So, yeah, I moved quite a bit of stuff, and there are a few people that are like, man, I can't believe you sold the clay shield and the Hawk shield, both of those. And I said, yes, while those cards are amazing, 20 years from now, Clay and AJ Hawk are going to be what they are, which is team legends and fan favorites. Yep. Brett Favre is an NFL legend. And this is a game-used shield from the first high-end football product. Yep. So it was an
makes sense.
It was an easy decision for me, and I'm like, okay, I can be done if I want to. I don't want to. There's still a dozen more cards that I want. But I just know that now nothing else I pick up will be better than that card. So, yeah.
It was a lot. That's freaking nuts, though, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm jealous. Because again, I had a chance to own mine, and I fell short. It is what it is. It wasn't meant to be.
Well, I mean, everybody that I know that was bidding on stuff during that time from JD Worley didn't win. The only person I know that won anything was Grant.
Well, it's one of those in which I bid on still what I thought it should go for.
Yeah.
And again, I fell short. But the part that, again, that still bothers me to this day is the fact that the person who bought it claims PC, but yet puts it back up on eBay if 3,200, buy it now, best offer. I mean, are you really doing that to like rub it in people's faces? That's kind of shitty, but whatever.
That tells me that you're actually looking to sell it, because if you didn't want to sell it, you'd put it up for 15,000.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought too, but I digress. And the guy's on Instagram too.
You did win the jumbo star patch, didn't you, Joey? Was it out of like 3 or 5?
Bob, let me know when you're ready, man, because you're not on video, so I can't see you.
Robert.
And he may not be sitting in front of the computer just yet either. Of course, I can't very well say.
You're looking at me the whole time we've been on here.
Happy birthday to me! Congratulations for a badass card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those who give a shit, my birthday is Friday, by the way.
Is it now?
Yeah. We know.
Well, Michael
We had
did.
we had the podcast on my birthday on the February 11th.
Well, go on video, Bob. You're not on video. I only see blank space. Or are you not going on?
Taylor
Oh,
Swift.
that's why he's laying down. That's why. So we don't get Bob on video, but we get to hear Bob.
We get the voice of Bob Lewis.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Bob.
Cereal?
No, brownie.
Okay.
Just little Debbie. Nothing. No special brownies.
No,
Yeah, I fell asleep. I fell asleep on the couch, and I just wanted to stay horizontal. I will participate.
Do you take the candies off the cosmic brownies because they're nasty?
There's been times that that's happened. Yes.
I'll buy a box of them and I will open them and just scrape all the candy off them.
And I wouldn't judge you at all for that.
Bring back the walnuts, you cheap bastards.
Yeah, seriously. Also, I've noticed the candy distribution of, per brownie is out of whack sometimes. Sometimes I'll only get like 3 candies on a half of a brownie.
Yep.
I'm not happy about that.
It's always been out of whack, though, Bob. It's never consistent. Come on.
I demand consistency.
Well,
As much as I demand consistency from PSA.
Yeah.
Call somebody who gives a shit.
This isn't the podcast for that? Oh, damn.
Yep. You're allowed to vent, bitch, moan, groan, and complain, but like we have no oomph to make any significant changes anywhere.
No poll.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What is that when, like, I'm not on Twitter, but isn't there something like where it gets elevated or something?
Trending?
Because, like, yeah, I thought it was like if somebody bigger puts over a post and like it elevates it or so. I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah.
Speaking a language I do not know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Really, dude? I just sat down. Really? You couldn't have done that while I was like up getting a beer? Oh, with the blinks and the blank stare.
What's Vinny working on?
Just something that I
Hopefully
have
that works.
Just something. Wow, so specific there, man.
just something for work that I gotta have for tomorrow, and I'm almost done.
Stop working.
They pay for lovely cards and other things.
Well, if everybody reminds me at some point, just because I want to make sure I do it during the show, In honor of my birthday, I will be opening a couple things.
Nice.
Mail? You'll open some mail for us?
No, because all I get is bills these days.
You're the last person that isn't paperless.
Most of it is.
Yeah. All I get in the mail is predatory loans and debt consolidation bullshit.
Yeah.
Or like, you need new windows. Would you like your house pressure washed? You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, where it looks like they wrote it in pencil, but it was all
Yep.
printed.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Get those too. Yep.
And Joey chimes in here, talks about still getting a physical paycheck.
Whoa.
Yep.
That's not even an option where I work.
No.
It's all direct deposit.
So does that mean he has to go to a bank?
It sounds like it.
Well,
Yeah.
he may be able to use his bank's app.
Yeah, just take a picture of it.
But then again, like usually there's limits to what you can deposit on those apps too, for your bank.
I don't know. I've
Because like
deposited.
mine, I can't deposit more than $2,000 via the app.
Yeah.
I can't do that for other reasons. I never have 2,000 to deposit.
No.
Joey goes to the bank every 2 weeks. Yeesh. That would suck if I had to do that because mine's like an hour drive.
Oof.
I go every Thursday.
Yeah.
But I drive out to the road, which is not far at all. Go down the road, like 6 blocks, 6 blocks to the bank. Get to the main highway, and then it's the street through town as well. So then it's 15 blocks to work. So
I would guess that my bank is a mile and a half from my house. And I only go there if something happens, like my debit card quits working or
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
That's the last time I went to a bank because I had a mysterious charge on my phone after signing up for something for my kids, like to get an added download this app. And I'm sure I just didn't uncheck a box somewhere that said it was going to sign me up for some monthly whatever. And yeah. Then the hoops you have to go through to try to like unsubscribe. I'm just like, I'll just get a new card.
Yeah.
I don't have what's not tied to any other like bills, so give me a new one.
Yeah, that's the only time I ever go to the bank is to get a new debit card.
Yep.
Because they cut them there.
They
Now, if I have to
cut
get a new
them
credit
there
card,
now.
if I have to get a new credit card, that's a whole different story. I have to call and then they have to mail it.
Yeah, my debit cards have to be mailed. Now, my wife, she can go to her bank and they just print them off right there.
Yeah, that was new to me.
Yeah.
But so I bank through a credit union and they only have like 7 branches.
Okay.
And they're all in Carrollton, Dallas type area. They won't ever like
Expand
move any further out this way because they're now they have other branches and stuff in other cities, Houston, that type of stuff. But here in the area, it's Carrollton, Dallas. I think they have one in Garland, some shit like that. But it's all south. But again, the only reason why I have to go is if I want to pull like money out of savings, pull significant amount of cash out of the bank, or need a new debit card. Outside of that, I have no reason to go. So, but to each their own, I guess. If I'd get off my ass, I'd get with somebody that has a lot more branches, but why? I like my credit union. It's small.
Yeah, we have a credit union in Knob. That it's a small one. I don't know many branches of it.
Of course, it is always funny when I go in. So what's interesting is my credit union, my original credit union only had 2 locations. Okay. And another credit union ended up acquiring them. So my grandfather actually helped found the original credit union. And in doing so, he opened accounts in like all of his kids and grandkids' names. So I've had this account since I was born. So that's one thing, but it's always interesting when I go in there and they ask for my account number and I tell it to them. They're like, "What's the rest of the numbers?" I was like, No.
Yeah.
That's the account number. My account number is 3 digits, guys. 3.
Awesome.
004.
Yeah.
No,
It's the same as my luggage.
no, it's not that low. But again, like it's 3 digits, and they all were like, that's not. I was like, just put it in the fucking computer. Trust me, it'll pull up.
Oh, son of a bitch! There it is. Nope, I was lying.
That can't be right. That's wrong. No, it should be like 6 or 8. I'm like, dude, just type it in. Oh, whoa, there it is. What a concept. So then I had to explain to him. It's like, okay, you guys acquired the original credit union that my grandfather helped found years ago. That's why it's so low. Dumbass people. But I digress. So we're 42 minutes in. We did touch on the topic a bit. We want to actually like throw out our top 5. So then we can move on to whatever else
from last week. Since
we don't care about. We don't care about your top 5 from last week.
It has done passed.
Well, thanks you all. Next time I have a kidney stone, I'll name it Michael. Wait a minute, I got one right now. Hi, Michael.
We'll put you on blast. You can go ahead and put your top 5 from last week if you choose to do so.
There, we'll do it quick.
And then I'll drop you down, and then we can go into toys.
IRP number 1, of course.
You're the only one to mention that.
IRP number 17, which was my first debut on the IRP.
And you never
IRP
left.
19, which I believe was the Christmas episode that we started our little gift of giving. No, my first video, was 11/20/2022.
Say
And
that
then
3 times.
12/8/20 was my first. Just Chewing the Fat was the name of the episode. Episode 112 is a Christmas episode. 69, not only divine, but it'd be another Xmas episode. Episodes 162 and 210, more Christmas episodes. 131 was the Ghost tribute episode. 172 was the Dryden Ghost.
That's more than 5. It's just supposed
Whatever.
To
I don't really give 2 shits. These are my moments, and you'll like it. And there's more than 5, and I don't give a shit. So.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Well, mute
You're unmuted.
Your ass is muted. Also, IRP 137, which is the Jeff Moore's Kramer episode.
Yeah, we didn't. None of us mentioned that one either.
Yeah, and then there's that other guy that had that show that time, and I met Dave, and that's how all this started. And that should be like the number 1 because that's how I met Dave, and then that's how I met Steve, and then that's how I met Bob, then that's how I met Michael, and it's that way it went. Because it's just a hobby.
Nailed it. Everyone saw it coming but Steve.
Anyways, eventually he's going to learn that I have the fucking power. Like, eventually he's going to learn. You're in timeout. You're in timeout. One show. Just be out of respect for the fact that my birthday is on Friday and you couldn't even respect that. I'm hurt. That kicked me in the testicles, man. Don't do it again.
Should we go into this before the toy, since you just brought up a huge segue?
Oh, he did.
The kicking of the testicles. The guy on the right.
Keep it up, man. I will fucking.
Well, I was in timeout at the time. Excuse me. So I was busting your balls back.
Oh, I'll punch you. Bye-bye.
Randy Orton tried to do that to Kevin Owens too, but
yes, he did.
Really kicked in the testicles. I don't know how many saw, how many care, because again, it's a subject that usually Steve and I start talking about, and that's about it. Good old John Cena turning on Cody Rhodes and finally doing something that he should have probably done about 10, 15 years ago when his character was as stale as
get out.
vitamin cereal from 1988. And joining Rock and sort of like a new billionaires club that isn't in Washington, D.C. That these are... You had Cena where, again, he had won the Elimination Chamber. Sorry, guys. Spoiler alert. Won that match.
I had recorded it on VHS. Now it's ruined.
Bullshit.
Doing the old, like, point in the WrestleMania, because that guaranteed him the other title shot against Cody, because Jey Uso, who won Royal Rumble, picked the former Walter, now Gunther. And I'm just waiting for like the viewership to drop to nothing.
Well, we'll touch on it quickly then.
And they're looking for their out right now. So he's doing, like, again, I know everybody that hasn't watched wrestling like for any amount of time, or they have, you see them pointing to like the WrestleMania sign. I mean, that's like been the last time 10, 15, 20 years. Every time you win the Royal Rumble or whatever, they got that fucker up there, your point. So he's doing that. Cody's music comes on. Rock, a week or two back, it said, "I want your soul, Cody Rhodes." Which, I mean, I just can't wrap my head around that. That just sounds so stupid. No matter what you think about it, it just sounds stupid. I can't say, like, oh, I can understand from this side. Or it just sounds ridiculous. Beyond. So then Cody's out there, shakes Cena's hand. They're all like chummy, and then Rock's music sort of hits, but then it like transitions into Travis Scott.
Yep.
And again, you don't know Travis Scott. You probably heard the song "Fiend" if you listen to any sort of poppy type that's got rap, either Sirius, XM, whatever you got, regular radio. So then he comes out, and this guy's like probably like 5'3", like 50 pounds.
Soaking wet.
Yeah, and he's got like it looks like the old hardcore title that they're trying to rebrand and sell. It literally looked like that.
I'm pretty sure that was the People's Championship belt.
Same thing. It looked like crap.
Well, I know, but like the significance, the fact that Rock was gifted that from,
Himself, basically.
Yeah. In some shape, form, or fashion, there's probably some kind of connection there somewhere.
Yeah, very loosely. Anywho, then the Rock's music, the newer, updated stuff hits. They saunter to the ring. Rock does the spiel again. Embrace me, Cody. I want you as my champion. I want but more importantly, I want your soul. And I'm like, it again, Mystery Science Theater 3000 means like the Soul Taker with Emilio Estevez's brothers in it, and Robert Zadar, huge face. He's in Samurai Cop 2, another great shitty film. But it's like they have these little rings, and it's like the soul gets them on the chest and pulls the soul out. They have the little soul and like the ring toss ring.
So in
Another
other
great
words,
story from the 80s.
Shang Tsung. I
Yeah.
want your soul. Okay.
And he's like, what's the answer? If not, if you say yes, come embrace me as your brother, whatever. If not, it all ends. It all dies tonight. Cody's acting. It's not good here because
No.
I'm more confused than anything. When I hear another man say that to, I mean, anybody. I don't care, man to man, woman to woman, man. And it's not in like the context maybe of like a marriage. When I hear like a wrestler say that to another wrestler, it's like I'm not hearing Lawrence Taylor say that to like Joe Theismann as he's sacking and snapping. It's like, I want your soul. I mean that's grounds for like mental institution. It's like, so Cody sort of like the conflicted, and Cody sort of makes you believe maybe he's going that way. He says, I want it all, Rock. I want it all.
I gave my soul to this ring
and he's like, but I can't give you my soul because I gave it to this ring. I gave it to the people. So what does he say? Like, go fuck yourself or something.
Yep.
So and I mean, it didn't blurt out, and I'm like, that's where the use of swearing is so vital.
Yeah, pertinent.
It adds just that much more than go screw yourself. It's like, yeah, you've been saying that for 25, 30 years. Nobody cares about that. You say go fuck yourself. People like, oh boy.
Okay.
Somebody just dropped a fucking load of shit in here because I mean it's getting deep. So The Rock is, and you've seen it the whole time.
Our viewership.
I know. I told you. I'm trying to
That's why I said get through it quick.
I'm going. Seen in the background the whole time. He's doing facial like reactions and like again the usual John Cena garb, like his fucking responding to stuff. And so like Cody, then like Cena again points up there. Cody, they like dap.
Yep.
Rock's in the corner. Rock does the Cena's face just goes like John Connor from T2 and fucking like shakes his hand right in the nuts, kick right in the fucking balls.
Yep.
Piss pounds him with his fucking Rolex, which it looks like again on his left forehead temple. He actually
draws
beat
blood.
the shit out of him because it was fucking a good abrasion when he left.
Yep.
Cody blades, juices, a good segment. I mean, Michael Cole's going fucking bananas because again, it's like it's basic. I was screaming at like the TV with Trista. I'm like, this is just like when fucking Hogan Bash at the Beach '96. I'm like, it's
the NWO thing.
If Heenan didn't say whose side is he on, it would have been even better. The one time Bobby Heenan fucked up, but again, it's like it's the same thing where you're like, oh my god. Because again, they had so many opportunities over the year to do this. I mean,
why now? Why now on his going out tour?
Yeah, it's like farewell lap or whatever.
Yeah, why now?
But and I was like, at the same time, it's like I get it because it's like you're a face of a company, but you're not the face of the company.
Yes, but so let me put it in a different perspective. Yes, he's on his way out. He was the face of the company for a lot of years. A lot of years. We all know this. Those who have followed it, he has been the face. The fact of, and I think this is really what started a lot of the conversation. We as wrestling fans know it's fake. And I use the term loosely, okay?
It's
Blood is
just
real. Blood is
predetermined
real.
Scripted entertainment.
Yep. Blood is real, like freaking being suplexed, like all that stuff. Like, but
The
anyways.
pain is real.
But the fact that so many kids look up to John Cena and all the make-a-wishes that he has granted,
More than any other human alive.
it makes no sense why they would do that.
I get that. That's always been like the one thing that it's been sort of conveyed, like we can't do it because of that. It's like, okay,
I
now
expected Cody to turn heel.
but
at
that's
some
that's
point.
where I think people it got too much into the like, get rid of the blonde hair, go to the heel. But Cody Rhodes as a heel isn't great. John Cena does have the gift of gab. So, and again,
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure
it also makes you wonder though. Is this just not a ploy? Because honestly, I don't see John Cena going out on his farewell tour ending up as a heel. I just don't see it. Is it all a ploy?
and that's like one of the first things I'm like,
Is it another way to create drama between Cody, The Rock, and John Cena in hopes that somehow Rock thinks he's going to win the title? Like there's got to be a storyline there as to why John Cena did it. My own personal opinion. I didn't watch it. I watched a lot of the replay on YouTube. Because again, like WrestleMania, I always watch it. So
Yep.
I've got to at least have somewhat of an idea of what's going on and some of the storylines to see how they culminate once we get to WrestleMania. Because if not, I'd be completely lost. Like, what the fuck is going on here? You know what I mean?
yeah, you're like, huh, he's bad now? How'd that happen?
So to me, I just see it. It's built into the storyline somehow, but I feel like it's going to be a ploy of some kind. Because I find it very hard to believe that John Cena would end his wrestling career as a heel. It makes no sense. Makes no sense.
It doesn't, but at the same time, I'm anxious and excited to see where it's going to go. Because again, it's something we haven't seen, and again, taking away from when Cena basically came in and started the Word Life Thugonomics character and rapping and the throwback jerseys and the Reebok pumps and the chain and shit and the backwards hats and whatnot. It's something that you didn't expect. And again, some people might have been like, "Oh, well, it could happen," or you never know. But they'll go so far, they'll expand like the mind this far.
Well, it's for those people who have followed wrestling though for a lot of years. Even if they're casual fans, they're going to tune in to see what happens.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's a brilliant marketing move. I mean, like, let's face it. From a creative perspective, it's fucking like genius. Genius.
well, that's what I told Trista. I said, now you've got all of a sudden people that remember Cena and maybe lost interest in the product. If they like Cena, they hated Cena. Now that's all of a sudden Cena's a bad guy. Cena turned on Cody Rhodes, the guy that used to wear the mask, and now he's aligning himself with The Rock. Just be like, okay, you have my attention.
Yep.
Now maybe they're not going to sit there for 2 nights and all that shit, but they're going to be like, I will try to, whatever night it's on, I will try to watch that night because I want to see where this shit goes.
Yep.
So, I mean, you got enough Rock fans out there that aren't probably wrestling fans. They know him from, I don't even know, is Jumanji one of his films? Was he
Yes.
in that?
Yep.
Yes.
So, I mean, he's in that. He's in the Moana stuff. He's at the voice of like a couple there. You're on mute, Vinny. I'm trying to think.
And I didn't do it.
You're a Jumanji too, because Rock is not in Jumanji.
Jumanji 2.
Okay. Guess what? Without Robin Williams, there is no Jumanji, so he could have the Jumanji. Oh yeah, there is Jumanji too. I just realized. Never mind. He could have it.
There's a third one, and then there's a fourth one that's actually coming at some point.
Dear God, you could have stopped at one. Thank you and have a good day.
I enjoyed the second and the third one. But part of that's because of Kevin Hart and Jack Black, not because of Dwayne Johnson.
I think Jack Black's in is usually hysterical.
Well, Kevin Hart has his moments too.
Yes.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
He's awful.
See, potato.
I liked him and Shaq at the All-Star game. At least what he'd try to tell Shaq, and Shaq would come back with something and leave like Kevin Hart speechless. Like he couldn't razz him again. It's like... But yes, so yeah, and then if you check it out from Monday night, CM Punk had a pretty decent promo on Raw.
Yep.
It's ripping, and I'm everybody knows I'm a Cody Rhodes, CM Punk. Those are two guys I followed for quite a number of years, especially Punk longer because he's been relevant longer in the world of professional wrestling. But Cody Rhodes, he came up, and Punk would be one of the guys I'd like to meet at some point. I just don't know if that'll ever happen at the price points we try to get people in there for. So yeah, Punk and Seth Rollins looks like it might be something at WrestleMania with maybe like a no hold barred type situation. But yeah,
Or
it's,
two out of three falls, street fight type something.
yeah. So yeah, that was fun. It wasn't a long event, or didn't seem long. Having two women's matches right away, that was a struggle. The Elimination Chamber, then they had the tag team match with like Nia Jax and Candice LeRae against Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton. So
Dave,
so Steve,
make this response fairly short so we can move on.
Yeah.
But I do have, it's a two-part question. What do you, one, actually it's not a two-part, it's two questions. What do you think about the whole Jade Cargill thing and taking out Naomi? And the second would be Io Sky beating Rhea Ripley on Monday Night Raw for the title. How does that fit into some of the storylines?
I didn't even know she beat her for the title. But
yes, Io Sky beat Rhea Ripley for the title.
The one thing that led me to believe that was going to happen at Elimination Chamber during, I don't know if it was a chamber match or what, but it was something, or I know it was afterwards. Sam Greenberg or Rosenberg or whoever the guy is on like the panel. He had said something about like fighting Io Sky at WrestleMania. He didn't say like Io or Rhea. He said Io Sky. So I'm like, does he know something we don't? So now that's sort of odd that he had said that and like.
So kind of a slippage.
Yes, because when I heard that, I'm like, she can't beat Rhea, can she? So obviously she did, but yeah, I don't know that it.
But so here's the thing. So
the stuff with Cargill, I don't get because she's still I've said it, the old Saturday Night Live, like the real old, like the Joe Piscopo days. It was the not ready for prime time players.
Right.
She's got a look that's fucking. Nobody's ever had that.
Well,
She
China.
looks like Storm. She fucking looks like Storm. From, was it Marvel?
X-Men.
X-Men. What, again, I don't know. I'm not up on these. But I mean, it looks like a fucking villain or a superhero, like cut from granite. Everybody thought like China was big. China was big, but she also got enhancements to make herself in the front. Jade Cargill is fucking. It literally looks like a female, almost like a female, the version of Rick Rude.
Yeah, she is ripped.
Just cut the fuck up, and it's you looking interesting, and then yeah, she comes in, takes out Naomi. I don't know what they're gonna do. You'd think there's gonna be something said there, but I don't know.
Well, so in listening to like the commentary, it's like, do they think that Naomi's the one that set up Jade getting like taken out?
Yeah.
But again, like in essence, does that make sense? But like from my perspective, the casual watcher, I haven't been watching all the stuff leading up to that situation. So is it possible? I guess it is. Could Bianca Belair actually be the one that actually did it? Because Bianca and Jade were tag team champions for a while,
Yeah.
right? So like it makes you wonder like how that's going to play out. But like the EO Ripley thing, since Rhea just recently got married, I'm wondering if she's going to take some time off. And as you and I both know, any sort of extended time off, you can't be a champion. They don't allow
it. That and is she knocked up? I mean, I have no idea. I don't read like the PW Torch like I used to.
I like I'll read articles from time to time, but like I haven't read anything on it to this point. I just happened to see the snippet on YouTube, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Now I knew she just recently got married, like real recently.
Mm-hmm.
So is it like she's wanting to take an extended like couple weeks for a honeymoon? Is she pregnant? Because again, like that is the only time that a champion normally would lose or just give up the title, is for something life related or injury, like real on full, like true real injury. But I just thought it was interesting. So
she had just, I thought she had not a year or two back had taken like a lengthy time because she had shoulder surgery or something. It was like 6 to 8 months. So I'm like, I haven't heard of anything, but again, I listen to Cornette. I haven't listened to Cornette much because guess what? Softball season started, so I've been watching softball recently. So I'll have to go and listen to his like the review of Elimination Chamber. I'll go through and see if something's going on. But yeah,
I wanted to throw those two out there just because like that was the other. To me, that was the other takeaway out of Elimination Chamber. To me, as far as what I saw. And then, of course, what happened on Monday Night Raw. So, I mean, we all know, for those who care, WrestleMania is still over a month away.
yeah.
So there's the 18th.
Like 7 weeks from this past Saturday. So like 49 days. It used to be like the end of March, early April, like that first weekend, whatever it happened to be. Now it's like the 17th, 18th, or something. And
it'd have to be like the 19th and 20th because the 19th is on a Saturday.
Okay. So yeah, 19th, 20th of April, which I don't like that late. I like the shit the way it's been.
Where is it at this year?
Vegas. So in whatever the Raiders Stadium, I think the Regent or Reliant or whatever it's called.
Yeah. It's a badass looking stadium is what it is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, multi-billion-dollar stadium that they put in there.
I bet they do a lot of cool wrestling related shit to the big huge dome thing they got out there now. I just blanked on what it was called.
Oh, like the TV screen deal.
Yeah, the whole building.
I can see it because they showed, I think, for the NHL draft. NHL, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
because
on
that's
the-
where that was. So
I had it right in my head right before I started talking, and then it went away. What it
it'll
was
come back.
called.
It'll come back to you like much later or in after hours because that's
Yeah.
typically how shit happens. But
Something with a C, I thought, and again, I don't think it was the sphere, but I mean,
It is the sphere.
okay, there you go. Way to go, Dave.
so that's the thing I like about Triple H and like this regime of people with all the storylines that seem to make the most money or give the most interest. It's been pretty spot on. I mean, it's not been like a stupid twist or turn where you're like, the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, it's again, I'm more the casual fan, and I would have to agree because outside of Cody, like last year's WrestleMania, like I don't know, a part of me was like, okay, yeah, Cody and Seth are gonna lose, so it's going to be freaking what you want to call it rules, the bloodline rules. Like I kind of saw that one coming, but at the same time, I also saw Cody winning because that just made sense. Outside of that, a lot of the stuff that's been happening or occurring from a storyline perspective, I can't say that a lot of people would have been like, oh, yeah, I saw that coming. Because for a lot of years, it was like, okay, yep, I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that Randy Orton would have made his comeback at Elimination Chamber to go after Kevin Owens?
Yeah.
Like I that didn't cross my mind.
No.
So same thing with Cargill. Cargill coming back at Elimination Chamber and going after like granted, again, casual fan, I'm not watching a lot of stuff that's going on. But again, I get it. They're trying to play up additional storylines leading into WrestleMania because they have to fill a card over 2 nights. But again, like, I don't think many people would have thought that would have been the case.
No. So
So I don't know.
we'll all tune in and
Yep.
or we'll listen to somebody that tuned in and
Well, I'll watch WrestleMania because that's just what I do. But because we're now in the road to WrestleMania, I pay more attention to what the WWE is posting on YouTube because I'm curious to see what things lead up to, how it's going to look. Gunther freaking beating the shit out of Jey Uso. Like, okay, like that's not an uncommon thing. Like that happens frequently. You got, Braun Breaker and freaking doofus nuts from Judgment Day. So like you got a lot of intertwined stories. So I can already see what's going to start playing out for WrestleMania outside of the title matches. So,
and if you're a fan of older wrestling, I would advise trying to go look at WWE Vault. It's under the WWE flagship, the channel on YouTube. It has got some really good longer videos of like, okay, NWO came back in 2002. Doofus nuts, yes. The pop you'll hear from him. Unprecedented.
I drew a blank on his fucking name. I can't stand him anyways.
What, Finn Balor?
Yes.
Oh, no, Dominic.
No, Finn.
So
Now when he was, Demon, that was a pretty cool fucking gimmick get up. Like I'll give major credit for that. But as far as him from a Judgment Day perspective, I can't stand him.
no.
And that's why I called him Doofus Nuts, because I couldn't fucking remember his name. Hey, it fits, right?
That's correct. But yeah, if you look at WWE Vault, there's like, I know Clint would probably be in heaven. There's like a 4.5 hour video of all kinds of Terry Funk clips. I mean, they had the NWO coming back. That was, I think, like an hour and a half. And again, that includes the Rock Hogan WrestleMania 18. I don't know if it included the match. I haven't gotten through that. But China. There's a 55-minute thing about China. And there's like Kane Taker. I mean, there's like 3-4 hour videos. And it's all like the highlight comes up. Hey, Raw, January 18th, 2020 or 2003. Whatever happened. So I mean, if you're a big fan of that era and you feel nostalgic, that would be a path to just sort of like peruse, see what they've got up, because I mean they're releasing stuff every day, and whoever's doing that, it's great, because it's a lot of stuff that if I had the power to do it and the technology, I'd love to do something like that, but it's done for me. That's what we call a winner. So WWE Vault.
And if you use our affiliate link that's down in the descriptor box, we get a kickback. Oh wait, I forgot. We don't have affiliate links. Oh, sorry, my bad. Damn, I was getting confused there for a minute.
You get several. So, and for the lowest rung, who regulates the regulators? Who's it going to be? That man, Mr. Warren G. That's who regulates the regulators. Shauna!
Shout out.
It was a clear black night, a clear white moon. Robert Lewis was in the bedroom trying to consume some tricks. Making sure you're still.
Well, I'm here. I was following along because I like Steve. Usually we'll just watch the WrestleMania, but shocking turn of events there.
Well, but see, here's the thing, Bob. Because so much can happen though at WrestleMania, since it's now 2 nights, you have to, in order to kind of really know what's going on for shit sometimes to make sense, you have to start kind of watching about now. Whether it's replays, whether it's highlights from Raw or SmackDown or whatever, you have to kind of start watching some of it, because if not, some of the stuff may or may not make any sense.
Yeah, I mean,
that's at least what
I can enjoy wrestling just for the spectacle of the match and don't have to. It's not like last year I didn't do anything leading up to it, and was entertained, so.
Okay, and that makes
and
sense.
They give for people like me, they share enough and show replays and kind of guide the novice viewer, if you will, a little bit into what's going on. Plus, I'm watching it with people that are heavily invested, and it gives them nothing, no greater pleasure than to expound on what's I ask a dumb question, and they're just well, they give me the whole story, so it's opportunity to interact. Yeah.
Well, then that works. If you're getting some of the history and the rundown while watching it by somebody who's following it, then all is well.
Right. Yeah.
It's just sometimes the storylines make the matches more intriguing if you know some of the backstory. That's not always the case. But And I'm speaking for
Yeah,
myself.
and they'll usually they usually don't pull punches when it's like this match doesn't matter. You don't. So it's like what? Okay, I can just watch it for what it is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because you can have like a, let's say, like the old tornado tag team, or like the TLC match, and
What,
you
Texas-
don't even know who's
The
in there.
Texas tornado, Dave? What?
No,
where
we're
you're
not there. You're there, Rick. Like when you get the 4 teams and you can tag out whoever and they got to come in. But like a TLC match,
Tables, ladders, and chairs.
you're like, I don't care who's in it unless it's like Great Khali against like Undertaker right now and King right now, and who else would be in there? The Osmos or Omos, the big dude that was AJ Styles a couple of years ago. It's like then you're like, oh, that might not be Under the Giant. It's like dying days. It's like, no, that's not going to be Big John Studd. That's not going to be a fun match. Somebody's going to get on the lowest rung, and the lowest rung's going to crack and disintegrate.
Have you ever seen the clips of the Great Khali's his what cameo is?
Oh,
No.
like the
Oh, what's a cameo? Sorry, Bob. I couldn't help myself.
I mean, I don't know how in tune with modern technology you guys are. Yeah, so his are some of the funniest I've seen. Like the buyer, I guess. I mean, you provide a script, and like he never follows the script. It's just like saying words that he can say, and always goes like off topic. It's kind of funny. Antonio Brown had some great ones too. I just saw one. It was so Manny Pacquiao. It's $1,000, and they click on it, and the first thing, like how he starts his cameo is, like it's just it's with a literal like filler word, like like I'm paying $1,000 for that. I don't know. This seemed funny to me.
I am so glad you're back. Now I don't have to stab you. Anybody know the movie? Speaking of Great Khali.
Top Gun.
No.
Dumb and Dumber.
The Longest Yard, the remake with Adam Sandler.
Yes, I was going to say that next.
Yeah, say it.
Sure you were.
No, Trista got me a cameo, I think in 2020? My birthday? I think it was then, of Matt Hardy, Broken Matt Hardy.
I remember watching it.
So that was, I'm like, that's, she's like, you got to watch this. And I said, what am I watching? Just push play. I'm like, and again, I love it. That's the stuff I love. I mean, again, even Naomi now is like, man, you got like a lot of boys. That's your boy. That's your boy. I'll say that for like wrestling, and yes, sports, yeah, rappers, yeah, singers. I'm like, that's my boy.
Well, because that's not uncommon.
5-finger death punch. Those are my boys. Huh. Again, it's just my thing. Forget about it. So, yeah, Matt Hardy's one of like the top 5 guys that I'd like to meet, just because I've met Jeff.
Your boy.
Yeah, exactly.
I met Jeff.
Met Jeff and Bemidji for TNA wrestling when they were here in like 2010 or 11. He had that goofy belt for TNA, like so it looked like his face painted, and I guess cool looking, but not like a wrestling belt. That you sell that to a kid, not to wrestle against somebody for it. But yeah, cameo. I haven't heard that in a while, but I'm glad they're still going. That's cool. Cool to have like
word up.
I know that's the only
word to your mama. Oh, word to your mother. Sorry.
No, that's Vanilla Ice.
I'm aware.
Come on, get it right. You can't be screwing that shit up. quotes
you?
and all that shit, it has to be from the fucking source.
Screw up shit like you.
Did I stammer? Did I stammer?
No, did I?
Can you hear the words coming out of the sound of my voice? Can you hear it?
No. Sorry. Anyways,
Anywho,
who wants to go first on top 5 toys? Vincenzo's dealing with a issue, by the way. He may or may not return.
so that'll be 2
Not
weeks.
everybody speak at once.
That'll be 2 weeks in a row. No top five.
Top 5 toys.
As for you as a kid.
As a kid.
Yeah, give me a sec. I'll be right.
Yeah, we'll let Bob crunch and think on that for a second. Michael went first last week, so Dave, you go first this week.
And I won't go with my number 1 because I'll let people wait for that. I'm thinking you're gonna all be sort of surprised. So
No, I think we all already know what that number 1 is. But
We know you're a brony.
that's the truth. It's all over my YouTube channel.
Mhm.
So
I'm a horse.
correct. I will go, and again, I think we all had bikes. I'm guessing. The one that I really wanted, we never could afford.
Sledgehammer?
No.
Mongoose.
No.
Dynamo?
Haru. The old
What?
Haru. It was like a blue frame, a light blue frame, white mags, pegs in the back. I think pegs in the front. They didn't have the forks on that, I don't think. The cantilever, brakes, the gyro, the frame that again sort of like came out underneath the seat. So if you're well balanced enough, you could put your feet and hold on there, or you could put them on the seat and on the front and like not ghost ride because again that was different. But you could sort of surf. But that I still remember a magazine I got. It must have been like an 80s. And they had like the prices of the bikes, and those were like $650 then. And it just, I always looked at that. I like the Dino, the Diamondback. I know there's one other one too, and it's not Mongoose, not Schwinn. There's one other like, big type trick bike that GT. So if you had like those, that was the shit. And that, I had a bike and it was like a Huffy, and instead of like the mags or something cool on it, it had the stupid, like the UFO plastic around the rim. So, it looks stupid, but I'm like, I thought it was cool. But again, you didn't have the cool brakes where you could whip around the fork. You could just go to the right so far, the left so far, and that's still. I talked to one of the old card guys, and I think he's down in Oklahoma, Paul Korn, on the site. Oh my God, yeah, he's the same as me with that stuff. We talk usually about that for quite a while, then we won't talk for 8-10 months, but then we'll jump back into that. And so that would be the number 1, having that cool ass bike, always wanting the better one because again, it's just cool. So that would be my number 1 toy, which I guess technically isn't what you think of as a toy, but it's on that level.
Loose definition, but I get it.
Still nostalgic nonetheless.
Next. Or are you waiting for Bob to sit still?
No, I mean whoever jumps in next doesn't matter.
I mean,
Oh.
I won't go in any order because it'd be kind of hard to like do that on the fly here. But the mask, the Rhino was probably, is that the Mack truck?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably. I'm just going by like what I remember playing with the most. That one and the one that looked like a '57 Chevy with the flames going down the side. Those were probably my top two mask vehicles that I played with more than any of the other ones. I did have the
So Bob's going specific.
oh yeah. Because I just try. Like I said, I'm just trying to like think of what I held in my hand the most. I mean, like the NES. I think once that kind of came along, that kind of, I don't want to say it like took the place of like playing with physical toys, but I mean that was a big deal for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't put that into the same topic of toys, but it technically would apply, I guess. And we lost Bob. He hit the wrong button. So since kind of we're not going in any particular order. Like I'll leave my number one, but I have a feeling my number one is the same as Dave's. And I'm not going to go specific either, like Bob did. But believe it or not, it kind of goes on the same line as what Dave brought up from a bike perspective. But I'm going to go even further back as a kid.
Banana Seed?
No. My Knight Rider big wheel.
Okay.
That was the shit.
It like there was nothing to it. It was, the big wheel trike type thing. It had the little freaking brake on the side, but like the front part looked like Knight Rider, the front end of the Corvette. And I literally rode that damn thing until there were holes in the tire.
Yep.
So I'll go with that as my number 5 because I will lead up to 1, but I love that freaking thing and I rode it all the time.
Yep. Big wheels were so much fun. I still remember being a little kid and we'd go to my grandpa's house, my mom's dad, and in his basement there was a tricycle and there was a big wheel. And my sister and I would have to fight to see who got to the big wheel first because you were going to go way faster. And it was just drifting around the smooth concrete basement. So much fun. And that big wheel, though, belonged to my aunt, who is like, she's just 3 years older than I am. So not a big age gap. But that big wheel was pink and had flowers on it, and I didn't care.
It didn't matter.
Nope.
Yeah, because like Barbie had one, like a ton of character type or show specific. Like there were a ton of them.
Yeah, big wheels were awesome.
So are you going with big wheel for your number 5, or did you have something else in mind?
No, I didn't have an order, and big wheel did not make it.
Okay.
No. I can go with this one for being number 5. This was when I lived out in New Hampshire. As any good white trash kid with a dad who was a gearhead, you watched drag racing, NHRA drag racing.
Yep.
I received a Big Daddy Don Garlett's Top Fuel Dragster RC car.
Okay.
And it was...
We're going RC cars. I love it.
It was so freaking cool, except for one thing. It was one that was on a cord.
Oh, shit.
It wasn't wireless. It wasn't wireless. And I had that thing, and I don't remember exactly how long. It wasn't very long, and my sister jumped on it and broke it in half
Oh shit!
on purpose.
Ouch!
Yeah, but yeah, the Big Daddy Don Garlitz RC car. It was so cool. I guess, yeah, just remote control, not radio control. But yeah,
Yeah, like I didn't even think about that because, and that's why I like some of these because there's things that get brought up that you don't always think about.
now my uncles were into the real RC cars with all the engines and all that stuff.
The expensive shit.
The really expensive stuff.
Yeah.
They were into RC cars and BMX racing.
Okay.
On the dirt tracks.
Yep.
They were into those. So whenever I would go visit that house, I had access to all kinds of cool things.
I bet. All right. Bob, what's next on your list?
Probably Ninja Turtles Casey Jones action figure.
Okay.
He just like the mask that he had. He looked menacing, and then like the green golf bag with the clubs in it. Yeah, that he got a lot of playtime as well.
Definitely.
Okay.
And then seeing the movie, he was so cool. You know, like he was so cool in the movie.
Yeah, they did him right in the early Ninja Turtle movie.
Yeah,
that guy's one of my favorite actors. I like him in everything that he's in.
For sure. He's like one of those guys. Like I don't even know his name. I just know when he's in something, I enjoy his role.
Yep.
Okay.
I had Ninja Turtles on my list too.
Okay. So, Dave, what's next on your list?
And again, not, I wouldn't say necessarily a toy as a kid, but when you got him as a kid, it meant something special. Maybe it was a time of year because it's usually around 4th of July, but during the whole summer, when you got fireworks or firecrackers.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you'd have, and again, up here in Ely, we didn't have shit because Minnesota's a dumb state. So, I mean, you get like the little whippersnappers, the shit that you fucking whip at the ground at your friends and they pop. And it's like, okay, go to Superior. Okay. Before we went to Superior, we went on a family trip down to the south and all that shit. M80s.
Okay.
Indoctrination, you go from whippersnappers and then you like bottle rockets and cool stuff like that, and maybe the stuff that I really loved. And again, it costs like $8 and it's just nothing but like pomp and circumstance for nothing. It's like the shit, like a Roman candle, but it's like a tank, or you have like the airplane.
Oh, yeah.
Shit off. It's not more than like 3-4 feet, but I'm like, I remember finding a ton of them, like where the old railroad tracks used to be. Because people go down there, light them off, just fucking leave the shit. So I'd be excited. I love that smell of the fucking like the burnt, the fireworks shit. And it's just like, oh man, this is cool. So when we went on a trip, it was again June. So and again, you see the fireworks tents. And again, down there where you guys are, that's big shit.
Everywhere.
It's
They're
not
everywhere.
like fucking like, oh, that you get some black cats, jumping jacks, and like, well, you're getting fucking like mega grade Roman candles that are shooting.
Artillery shells.
Yeah, when you got that stuff, I'm like, oh.
Yep.
So I mean, it was like, okay, my dad's like, you need to throw this like as soon as you light it, like 10. You need to throw this as soon as you light it, or it will blow your fingers off. And don't throw it like just fucking like give it a good heave. Light it, throw, and I mean, even within that, it was like 10 feet away, and that thing popped. And like, I understand now. I very much understand because that's one of the loudest bangs I've heard. It hit the ground, shit went everywhere. I'm like, okay. There'll never be a time when I like, wow, will this go boom? No, no. And I think that was part of the thing too, that if you were going to be enjoying this stuff, you had to fucking do it to learn. You couldn't just be like, let the adults do it. Let the adults do it. Then you somehow along the line go to the store, you pick up some shit, buy it there, go with your friends, and then all of a sudden you don't know, like, oh, I think we, boom, then you fucking Jason Pierre-Paul and you lose like 2 fingers.
Right.
So, but yeah, like any of that stuff, especially the jumping jacks that went to, I mean, if you fucking lit them and you threw them in the sky, oh, they take off for fucking a good while, land on people's roofs and piles of leaves. You'd start them on fire. So I mean, yeah, fireworks / matches, because that's also another one that's fun. That's how you know you had a childhood that wasn't the last 20 years. Like matches. When you go to the fucking corner store, buy like the 100-pack of like matches, the matchbooks for like $1, and that's your fun. Like, I'm gonna rake to do what? Start that pile of leaves on fire.
And then it evolved into you get put on a list because you're making meth.
Well, no. It evolved to the cops being called by my brother and I, for our parents called him to have a talk about starting stuff on fire, because he had already started a garbage can up in Ely when we were up here before we moved on fire that melted into the garage and started the garage on fire and ruined a lot of shit. So it wasn't just like a smoldering, it was a
fire.
The garage needed to be torn down fire.
You could feel the heat from 20 feet away.
When your neighbor's knocking on the front door, hey, your garage is on fire. You look out the window and think,
Yeah.
whoa.
I wasn't into matches, but I stole a lot of lighters.
Yeah, my dad smoked.
The whole fire thing. Like,
the pyro thing never caught on with me.
I didn't like. Mine was different. Part of it had to do with the fact of, just seeing what you could get away with swiping from a store. And because lighters were at the front of the store, like all it was you got big balls. And
yep.
I even at the age in which I was swiping them is when I kind of started smoking anyways, not to the extent of what I like turned into later on in life. But I tell you what, I got in a shit ton of trouble when my mom finally found my stash. But like, she didn't have to buy a lighter probably for 5 years, if that tells you how many lighters. But anyways, fireworks. Okay, I wouldn't have thought about that because, like, when I think toys, that's not what I would go to. But I get it.
But you had to, like, a lot of the designs were of a tank, a train.
No. I get it. Like, because like all mine are in fact toys. So number 4 on my list would be G.I. Joe. Okay. And the only reason why G.I. Joe is as low on the list as it is because G.I. Joe was a little bit more on the pricey side when it came to like the vehicles and that type of stuff. So it was a welcome surprise when I got something, but it was still one of those in which I would get a lot more of something else. Actually, my top 2, I would get more of those than I would of G.I. Joe. And then of course my third on my list. But so I had quite a bit, don't get me wrong. I had the oil rig. That was pretty much the most expensive thing that I had for G.I. Joe. I call it the oil rig, but because it looked like an oil rig and it had the expandable freaking feet.
Okay.
But for the most part, I didn't have a ton. I had more figures than what I did anything else. And
Same.
Again, part of that had to do with the price point on the vehicles and everything else. They were just a little bit more pricey.
Dude, I one Christmas was blown away. I didn't even know it existed, but I was gifted the mobile command center, which was.
That's big.
Do you guys know what that is? Like where it folded out in 3 sections? Oh, dude.
That's like the
Barbie dream house for G.I. Joe.
Yeah, like if you weren't
Yes.
getting the flag, like I wasn't getting the flag, I wasn't getting like the
Aircraft carrier.
like the aircraft carrier, which is the flag, right? Then there was like the space one or whatever. Like those were hundreds of dollars back then.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't getting what was Cobra Command Centers, like the or Terror Dome, the Terror Dome, I think it was. Yeah, I wasn't getting any of that, but that was going to be on my list for sure. But I'll go different. Well, like in the Dreadnoks Thunder Machine, that was like the one vehicle I probably played with the most. It looked like something out of Mad Max.
So is that your number 3 then, Bob?
I mean,
Or are you going to go somewhere else? It doesn't matter either way. Like, there's
yeah.
not a
Well,
limitation of how you
I was spoiled as a kid, so I could just pick a different brand. If you win GI Joe,
go.
um,
But it's okay if you decide to go with GI Joe for your third one. Like, in all honesty, like
no, I'll go like He-Man, and specifically like the slime pit. Anything that had slime was pretty cool in my opinion. The Horde's slime pit. I think I got more use out of that, I feel like, than it had like the hand that came up and like grabbed the dude in the nuts.
Yeah, believe it or not. So, like, I'll piggyback. Like, He-Man's my number 2 on my list because, again,
Okay.
like, He-Man was cheaper.
Yeah.
So, like, again,
It's kind of crazy the story, if you've ever seen that Netflix thing about He-Man, how they like worked backwards with everything. There was like they had the figures, then they made the comics, then they made the cartoon, and like built the lore backwards almost. It's interesting. Anyways, yeah, the He-Man was great.
And for those who care, they're actually doing another movie. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
I think I saw some stills, but I never believe that the first time I hear or see something like that on the internet. So
Well, there's quite I mean, there's a few YouTube videos and like as far as who the cast is and so on and so forth, of who's playing who, and I mean, it's interesting. Like the one with Dolph Lundgren didn't completely fit the bill of the actual cartoon.
Mhm.
they didn't do any. It was not even like it at all. He never changed into He-Man. He just always was He-Man.
Well,
There was they introduced characters that weren't part of the any toy line.
Well,
Like
that's what
none
I'm
of the
getting
bad
at.
guys. Yeah, it sucked. It was awesome back then, but like, man,
Yeah, it was
that was
only He-Man in name.
right.
Well, he only became He-Man when he finally pulled the freaking sword out of the fucking
Rock.
mechanism at when they were at Grayskull. So
I am
like
power.
that's the only time he technically turned into He-Man.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see if it actually comes to fruition how they make it work. But so He-Man is my number 2 on my list because again, fairly inexpensive from a cost basis perspective. I had both Castle Grayskull and fucking Skeletor's fucking thing.
Yep.
Both cats.
Snake Mountain.
Yeah, thank you. Both cats. Like, so I played a lot with He-Man, but again, all that had to do because like I grew up with a single mom. I live with my grandparents, but so it's still one of those in which there was always a cost basis that kind of came into play as far as like some of the stuff that I got. So He-Man's my number 2 only because I piggyback off of Bob. So Dave, Michael, number 3 on your list?
Well, no particular. There's no particular.
I know yours are not in particular order, but
I'm going to go ahead and I'll just go with Nerf guns. Nerf.
Oh
was,
yeah.
Nerf was a huge thing for me as a kid, and I remember this one that I had. You operated it with two hands. It wasn't very big. It was only like this big. You operated it with two hands, and it was pump action like this, and it was like a Gatling gun that shot all the arrows out of it. And I absolutely loved that thing. And then, of course, the rich kids down the street had the bow and arrow that I always wanted. That was the one I always wanted and never got because it was just expensive. My parents didn't have that money. And well, turns out his parents didn't have the money either. His dad ended up going to military jail for credit card fraud.
Oh, shit.
He had to, it was strange because they put him in jail. He was in a jail on the base, and he had to serve out so long. And then whenever he was done, they kicked him out of the military. But the family still lived in base housing. It was very odd.
But
yeah, I was like, okay, good. My parents didn't just suck in my mind. But yeah, Nerf guns. There was nothing more fun than getting a bunch of kids together that had Nerf stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I remember them quite well.
Yep.
Not on my list, but I guess partially because I never really had any. All my friends did, so I always had to play with them. I guess. Dave?
Number three is going to be like a menagerie of a couple different things, but they're all in the same basic category.
So you're cheating.
No. Like Matchbox cars and the monster trucks that they used to have, like the USA 1, Grave Digger.
Okay.
Because those would go together because I'd take hammer, the old cars, I'd crush them down, get Play-Doh, put the old cars in the Play-Doh, then I'd run the trucks over them. And then micro machines. Like anything.
Okay. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I remember micro machines. I wish I still had mine.
You too, Brian.
Micro machines were one of my favorite little things to play with. That's
Yep.
awesome. I remember vividly my mom picking me up when we were in Indiana. It was between like 83 and 86, somewhere in that time frame, maybe 87. She would walk to the school and pick me up from the school. I was in kindergarten. And I remember one day she showed up and pulled a Micro Machines little blaster thing that had like 6 little cars in it and handed it to me. It was like the greatest day getting out of school ever.
I had the lunchbox that turned into sort of like a San Francisco. It had the bridge.
Okay.
It had the like the road down the hill, 2 or 3 other things, but I mean nothing like folded out there, and then the sides folded out. And I just remember you could sit there and play for hours.
Yep.
And you didn't have a phone, you didn't have internet, you didn't have this. If it was shitty outside, Matchbox cars, you could have your own little race going on, because I used to buy or have purchased for me like the old the race cars when they had like an Alan Kowicki, Earnhardt, Michael Waltrip, like the country time was on there. The number was on the hood. The little signature of the racer was on where it would be on an actual NASCAR. So you'd sit there and I'd just go around, and again, just bored. I mean, but you're still doing something. Your brain's still moving. But yeah, and then the Matchbox or the monster trucks. Yeah, I had, because they've got those too for micro machines. They've got like some of my favorite ones, like the No Problem, which is an old like a Ford, an Explorer, like a Bronco. So you didn't see like anything other than an actual truck then. It was always just a truck. So anytime you had something that was different, it was like, well, that's cool. I never really thought of that. So just playing with that stuff, and my dad had made like street signs too, like because he was a woodworker. He did all that shit. So you get a dowel, get a base, then easily cut out. Hey, there's a stop sign. Hey, there's a yield sign. School crossing with all like my mom would paint the stuff on there, and so again, just stuff like that where you knew you could make street signs that has like Harvey Street and Conan Street. So if okay, we live on Conan, I'm gonna just make the city. And it wasn't like you had to have a huge play set. It was just simple stuff with a bunch of Matchbox cars. Because every time that you went to the store, go to the Ben Franklin, we couldn't get like the figures every time that I wanted of like a GI Joe, a wrestling figure, fucking anything. So it's like a Matchbox car is usually like 59 cents or something like that. So it's like you guys can pick out like a couple Matchbox cars. So you'd always like maybe once every week to 2 weeks get 2 or 3 new Matchbox cars. So that was usually a collection that grew. Cards, get a pack of cards, get a couple of those, and that's about it. That's what we can afford. So just that, and again, it wasn't something where, again, the other stuff you can always do the imagination too. But it's like with this, it's like you really have to pull out the imagination card.
Yep.
Sit there and like occupy yourself. You hand a kid now Matchbox cards. I'll say under 5 minutes and they're done.
Probably.
They're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
And then yes, I started some of those on fire too.
Of course you did, Dave.
Not the micro machines. I love those. The Matchbox cars after they got destroyed for the monster truck competition, they became burnable fodder.
All right. Bob? We're all at our top twos, give or take.
Yeah.
Yeah, just another one for me. I'm kind of just spitballing here, but when I have some other things in mind. Again, just stuff I just played with a lot, but and it wasn't a real popular line, but I'll just honorable mention one real quick. Do you remember Silverhawks? So just kind of, anyways, like the bad guy was this red dude, Monstar, but like he had this action where he went from like good to bad, like where if you squeezed his legs, like the back, his back and his chest opened up and the head flipped on its own. That was I got a lot of use out of that. But what Michael just said about the Nerf stuff, it made me think, and I was gonna just say, oh, throw in this, but I figured I'd just save it. The Super Soaker, man.
That's what I thought about when he brought up Nerf. Yep,
dude. Oh man, and even like the you could get them at like the thrift store. They were like water balloons, but they were like grenade, pattern, little grenade pattern water balloons with the Super Soakers. Oh yeah, there's lots of fun times with that stuff for sure. And then like they kept that, like Mike, how you kind of like the next year's model or whatever was always bigger or better, or like it shot further. Like the Super Soakers, they ended up having like 3 different chambers on them. You had like one big, like the first one that came out just had the one. Then you had like ones that had like they were vertical, like just like you kept. I mean, to the point where it was like, how can a kid even carry this when it's all full of water?
Exactly. Yep.
The backpack, I think they're the backpack or something, a big tank thing on your back.
I'm sure. Right. It just got out of hand, but that was pretty cool. Got a lot of use out of the suit, and then like how much you pumped it determined how far and how fast the water came out. You know.
Yep.
So and just squirt guns, and squirt guns are universal, dude. My kids today love squirt guns.
Yes.
That is definitely.
And
who's talking?
Steve's trying to.
Yeah, Steve's freezing up.
Okay. I was gonna blame you, Vinny.
Most people do, Bob. Most people.
Dave mentioned backpack, and it made me remember the toy I always wanted and never got was the Ghostbusters.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I always wanted the Proton Pack. Never got it.
We had one.
It makes me want to buy. I might go search eBay and buy me one now.
See,
They're
that's
expensive.
it's so dangerous. So dangerous because it's like, goddamn.
Yeah.
Because
I did have the trap. I had the gun and the trap, but because they sold the pack. Well, maybe I had a backpack. I don't know. I feel like I had the gun, but I only had a trap. I don't ever remember having the backpack. Did they ever sell the?
I don't know if they
Yeah, I
sold
don't.
They sell the what?
the gun.
Did they have
without the
like?
backpack.
So maybe I don't know. It's been a while, but I
had the
do remember
trap
having
and-
the trap. Didn't it open with like a push of air or something or?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you stepped on the little round.
Yeah,
Am I better now?
Yeah.
you're better.
I don't know what the hell was going on because like I didn't even see a drop in internet connection. It just decided that it was going to start. No, and at the time I was going to because you and I started talking at the same time, Michael. So all I was saying was like, go ahead.
Oh.
But I don't know if you ended up saying what you wanted to say or if you got sidetracked because I
I
started
did.
freezing. So I'm going to pull a Bob. I'll give my number 3 because I've already given my 2. But I will give an honorable mention because like I started doing a Google search and I was like, okay, for the life of me, why in the fuck can I not remember these? Anybody remember Record Breakers? Anybody
Like
remember the
football cards.
No. Anybody remember the show that used to air that actually had various people racing their record breakers? So
What fucking channel are you watching?
I don't fucking remember, but that's how I stumbled. That's how I stumbled across them in the first place. So they're kind of like an RC car. Okay, they're about they were yay big,
Okay.
and they were battery powered, but like you actually could buy upgraded quote unquote engines and upgraded tires and so on and so forth. So it was one of those in which the more upgrades you put in the car, potentially you would have a chance of winning said races and everything else. Now, when I first started getting them, they were literally like going out of business. So they didn't last long, nor did the TV show. And if I'm not mistaken, Jesse the Body Ventura was actually one of the hosts of said show. But
No clue.
yeah, but we went to Toys R Us and everything was on clearance. So I got like 3 cars. I got all the freaking upgrades and shit. I got the track, that type of stuff. So
Are you
again,
maybe talking about slot
hours.
cars?
No, they're called record breakers.
Oh.
So if anybody wants to go look, just do a Google search for record breakers. But I digress. That was an honorable mention anyways. But I got a shit ton of fun out of those, especially when I actually had the track. Because you could make the figure 8, you could make just the big freaking oval, like you could do all sorts of stuff. But they were battery powered and they all had 2 engines. And again, like upgraded rollers, upgraded tires, upgraded engines. So just anyways. So number 3 on my list, and I've stuck mostly literally 2 toys. I do like some of the things that everybody's been saying because like, okay, yeah, great choice. So number 3 for me was Transformers. Love the TV, love the cartoon, love the toys. And I'm talking original Transformers, the ones that had like metal pieces, not all the plastic garbage that it is now.
Yeah.
Didn't have a ton of them. But like I didn't have a whole lot of the original stuff. Like I didn't have Optimus, I didn't have Megatron. I did have an original Bumblebee, which actually was mostly plastic, but Bumblebee was fairly small anyways. A lot of the Transformers and stuff that I got were a lot of the newer I'll call them the groupings, kind of like what were they called? The ones who made Devastator. I can't think of actually what the grouping was called, but like 6 or 7 individual Transformers made Devastator.
Like the neon green and purple.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So I had a lot of those. I think I had 3 different ones. Like I had the one that sticks out was all kind of like first responder related. So you had like a fire truck, an EMS, a helicopter, and they all formed like they transform into their own individual robots, but then you transform in a different way and you make it this big one like Devastator. So Transformers would be number 3 on my list.
Shockwave and Soundwave were 2 of my favorites. Shockwave turned into like a gun, and then he was badass as a robot with like that kind of
Made
that
the noise.
yeah, like what's a creature that has one eye? Just had that face that wasn't like it was unlike Cyclops. It wasn't like any other one. And then Soundwave with the little cassettes that you could put inside. I think I had like 2 different cassettes that it was just they didn't make toys like that then, and I didn't. Transformers did frustrate me sometimes because I couldn't always make it transform. Like they were pretty intricate at times.
Yep.
You could buy Transformers G1 Devastator complete reissue, brand new with a box for $70
from China.
Yeah, Shanghai, China.
Well, that's probably where they were all manufactured from, anyways. But
it's on eBay, and they've sold 85 things, so I'm so sure they're reputable.
So, Dave, I guess you're up with your number 2.
I'll also do beforehand a honorable mention for me. Nintendo, Atari, Super Nintendo. Probably in that order too. Again, Atari we had first. We'd gotten that from like a rummage sale back in the day. Then we got a Nintendo. I don't think it was new. I don't know how we got it. I didn't ask because again, at that point in life, you don't ask. You just we're happy to have. And I got Super Nintendo for my, I don't know, it was like a 12th birthday. I don't think I got it in 91 because we were just there in Superior. I think it was 92. I think it had already been out, I think, for a year or so. But that was the one with the free, what I got, Mario Kart, Mario World, and then the All-Stars you had to send in. So I got like, quote-unquote, 5, 6 free games or whatever it was. But that, I played that like I worked an overnight shift at like a factory in the summer. I would be up to like 5 in the morning playing video games, like most days, nights, whatever you want to call it. Nintendo wise, we probably had like 10 games, 10 games. RC Prom was one I loved. I can still hear like you hit the chevrons that sped you up. Zelda, but I mean all the gaming systems. Because like back then it wasn't. You had to wear your headset. You had to do shit online if you wanted to have fun with like a Doom or a Call of Duty or something like that. It was get the family around the TV and try to play Mario. That's all it was. So I mean that again, not necessarily the toy and like you can go to Ben Franklin up might a Woolworths or whatever and pick it up there, but a toy nonetheless. So that would be an honorable mention. Number 2 will shock people possibly. I had a bunch of stuffed animals. pound puppies, shit of that ilk. And again, most of them dogs, because again, I like dogs. You had the bears, because every kid probably had a bear, or most every kid, a majority of children probably that had stuffed animals had a bear, because that was, if you didn't have a dog or a cat, that was
As
probably
Michael shows his.
right along the same lines. I had a bigger, I think like a 2.5 foot bear, and that was used as a wrestling buddy. I mean that I pretty much destroyed that from wrestling it for like 3 years.
That's why I used pillows.
Well, the bear was great because it had the neck, so you could do like the Macho Man elbow drop and like the Mr. Perfect, like the knee, and then you could, or the Ric Flair knee, and you could roll through. But I remember, yeah, two vivid like stuffed animals. I had a brown pound puppy, and that was when they came cool in like the little kennel, the big box with the little kennel, or the big kennel and the the box deal. So I named the one. What the fuck was the one? Because I can remember the other one. It was more of like a wobbly dog, Blackie. I know the brown one. It wasn't Brownie. But why am I not remembering? Because that thing was like with me everywhere. But yeah, just having like tons of stuffed animals, and again, kids today, it's like the squishmallows. That's not really a thing. That's just dumbness. It's not an actual like stuffed animal. It's not a raccoon. It's not a bear. It's not a cat. It's not a tiger. A, even like an elephant or something like that. It's so always had those. Those are always some sort of Christmas gift too, because I know I don't know. I wouldn't be excited just because again, it's like, oh, have like 8 of them, but integrate them to the collection, and just something that was probably cheap enough that $2-3 back then. The stocking filler, or it's something put underneath the tree.
I only have one question, Dave. When you got a new one, did you take him around and introduce him to all your other ones?
I don't think so. I don't. I'm trying to remember if I did any of that. I don't think I did much. Maybe. Well, I'm trying to remember if the brown was named Fuzzy. I know I had 2 in Superior that I found. One at a rummage sale for 50 cents, and it was such a cool little dog. If I could find the fucker again, it was like a little white stout thing, short legs, short arms. It just looked goofy. And then, like at another rummage sale, like the next summer, I found like a bigger one. It was like twice the size, and I said it's like, because I named it Snookums, and I'm like, that's Snookums' dad. So I mean, I got that too, but then I don't know where the hell they went, and it's like, but just stuff like that, where again, cheap, using your imagination. It wasn't always about like something that you could turn on and like just let the game bring you in, or like have the set or whatever. You had to think about the shit you're gonna like make a story about. I wrote stories about my stuffed animals, and again, boring shit. And you're like, man, he is the way he is. Now I know why. So stuffed animals, pound puppies, that ilk.
Michael, did you give your number 2 yet?
I have not. I was going to just go ahead. 2 of mine, one I'd already mentioned earlier, and that was the Lion-O sword that I had. So I won't go into that. And then Ninja Turtles, like Bob said.
Okay.
So I only have one left, and I'm going to give it. And that is one of my favorite thing that I liked to play with as a kid was Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars, the 1/64 scale. And my favorite things that I own were the Days of Thunder 1/64 scale cars.
Okay.
I had all the cars. I had the trailers, the haulers that they would sit on, and I played with them so much. And I actually found just a couple of them at my mom's house, and man, almost all the paint is off all of them. That's how hard I played.
Well,
And
they got good use then.
absolutely, and I found that I can actually go and buy still original in the package ones, and they're not stupid expensive. And I've had to keep myself from doing it because I have nowhere to put them, and I don't want to just buy them and put them in the closet.
Right.
So, but yeah, that concludes my list. Yes. Yep. Russ Wheeler. That was Carrie Elwes. That was one of the Cole Trickle cars, the Superflow.
And this is, yep, that's.
Yep, that is Rowdy Burns' car that Cole Trickle drove.
And these are a couple that are not of the the show or the movie, but
That Davey Allison? Or is that Ernie Irvin? No, wouldn't have been Ernie Irvin because he was the Kodak car.
his father was a famous driver, Hall of Famer too. Dale Jarrett.
Ah.
And then the Country Time one. And again, I don't think this is Waltrip. I don't think he had whatever.
Yeah, I don't recognize that one. It would have been a little bit before I watched.
So yeah, that when you brought up Days of Thunder, I'm like, I know exactly where these friends are at.
It's awesome.
So we're all so Michael's done.
Yep.
Vincenzo, would you like to give your top 4 before we get into number 1? I know you hear me.
That would be Voltron,
Okay.
G.I. Joe,
Okay.
Transformers,
Okay.
and Star Wars.
Okay.
I think that's what we did the most. An honorable mention would be Nintendo, Atari, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo. I mean, if we weren't outside playing street hockey or baseball or basketball, we didn't play much football. Even though my brother played football in high school and college. But my other brother and I mostly baseball and street hockey a lot. And
Okay.
that was mainly it.
All right, Bob. What's your number 1?
I mean, I don't think it's anything that hasn't been said, and I missed the idea of like you said. I went very specific in the beginning, but like and just the toy from that line. But I mean, Boulder Hill was probably the most, and Mask in general was probably what I had the most of, and probably what got the most playtime. I just feel like I love the little helmets. I love the fact that you had a play set and everybody had their own vehicle. They had things that like shot, spring-loaded missiles. They were a good size for a small kid's hands. It had a cartoon that was awesome, with like an awesome song. So like I think that yeah, and I mean Thundercats is probably like a number 2 for me. I think I had all the good guys, most of the bad guys, so I could get some battles going there as well. But yeah, those are probably, I mean, Ninja Turtles and G.I. Joe, like those are the top 4 things that I probably. What was the Ninja Turtles thing with the big ball on wheels with the eyeball that rolled down? What, Krang's.
Crank's
Yeah,
Lair.
that was a big time toy when that came across. But I don't know, man. I sound like the spoiled kid I felt like sometimes hearing like, we couldn't afford to play from just you guys, money was an object. And I'm not saying we lived high on the horse or anything, but I guess I can look back now and be more thankful that I had play sets to go with a lot of these things. I had a lot of Ghostbusters, but never had the Fire Hall.
Yep.
Never had Ecto One. Those were things that I wanted. Well, I say that now, but I was never really without. I remember like stupid things like the Skip It, and then the rubber ball that had like a disc around it that you jumped around on. I think my parents got me a lot of stuff too that was outside, or just like non-branded like plastic guns that when you squeeze the trigger, like the orange tips on the ends,
Yep.
it had that rattle sound to it, but like utility belts where you could put a knife or a grenade or some whatevers, but nothing like branded. Like Rambo was a big thing for me growing up. I always pretended I was Rambo outside and blah blah blah. So yeah, toy guns I think were fun for me, even though I never wanted to go to war.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember going to the Army Navy store and getting, the whole Rambo knife with the compass and
With the
yeah,
compass,
so-
that's
Compass,
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
and it was real. It was real. It was metal. I think I still have the knife. I don't have any of the matches or the saw or the shit that came with it. I think the compass fell out, but I still have the knife somewhere.
Yeah.
One thing I will own one day is a full-size replica of the sword from Braveheart. It will be on my wall.
Nice.
So, well, Bob gave away probably David Mai's thunder, but yeah, number one.
Yeah,
it's fine, but number one is
Nah.
Mask.
Yeah.
Like hands down. I had the most of it. Like I acquired Boulder Hill from a friend because that was the most expensive piece, of course. But like he didn't give two shits about it. He stopped playing with it and was like, "Do you want it?" And of course, yes. I'm sure it's probably missing some of the smaller pieces, Dave, just FYI, in the event that like we do end up working something out. But all that shit you can buy on eBay. I know you can get replacement parts.
Like the gas tanks or whatever and all that other
Yep. But
Even the sign flipped down, like, and had guns
with the
behind
lasers.
it, like,
Yep.
and where how the shield came over the window. It just was so
Oh, yeah.
awesome, dude.
Heck yeah, it was.
The gun turret at the top of the mountain.
Yep, once the boulder was knocked out. Heck yeah.
Right.
Like
You could get your hands in behind it and actually like play in it too. It was very much. Sorry, go ahead. I get excited about it.
No, because like I had a friend that lived on the other side of the alley, and like it was never uncommon to break out all the Mask and literally play for hours. Because again, like you put in your little synopsis, everything had an action. It just not everything like shot stuff, but a lot of stuff did. So it was one of those in which you actually felt like you were going to battle with some of these because you could shoot shit at it.
Right.
So yeah, hands down. And from that perspective, it's kind of cool that like I still have all of it from my childhood. Again, some of it may not fully work because again, it's old. But there's probably only a small handful of things in like the last issue of toys that I don't have, which is crazy. And that includes T-Bob and Roy. So
I know Dave and I have talked about is it Jackhammer? Is that the black Jeep?
Yeah, that's his favorite.
Dude. And if you had that, yeah, I know, and it's still, and the back still See, yours does. Like mine, I don't have it anymore. But like after a certain period of time, like the back just didn't stay locked in place. Oh yeah, I
If
made
I'm
him a
not
good guy
mistaken,
because he had a cool vehicle.
That
was it Hondo?
Honda was what?
I'm trying to think. I was trying to remember exactly what his vehicle was, but he had the shorter mask. So if you remember anything, like almost all your mask figures had like the full mask, like it
Down to
like
here.
touched the shoulders.
Yep.
Correct. Hondo, if I'm not mistaken, is his name. He only had the small one. Later iterations, he had like the full helmet. The early iterations, it was just covering his eyes.
Okay.
Was he the motorcycle guy? Was he a motorcycle dude?
No, I think he was one of the pickup truck.
Yeah, like the red one.
No, the orange one.
The orange one that shot the tire off the back.
Yep, and had the motorcycle on the back,
Yeah.
which a lot of people didn't.
The one orange Jeep had like the boat that slid out the front of it.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
pretty awesome.
that was the Jeep.
Gator.
Yep,
Gator.
Gator.
That-
Yep, there you go.
That's the one I had because that's the thing. I'll jump into my number one, even everyone else needing to go because I want to dovetail off the discussion. And you're like everything had like the action, and that was part of it. The other part was like if you had the green and yellow motorcycle, that turned into a fucking like helicopter. The thing came up and like the helicopter blade. You had Gator, the Jeep, you push the back or whatever and it pops open, the Jeep would spring out. And then you had a boat. The boat was where he sat. So now you got basically in essence the possibility or the actuality of two toys in one.
Yep.
So I'm like, and then moving parts again. I wish that they had made them a little more, again, plastic for the time, but just the ability to maintain the hold, like the doors stay shut, the stuff goes up and it can go down instead of like flopping around like a limp dick. It's
One way to put it.
the best way to put it.
Dude, the ejector seat on the Rhino, I got so much use out of that. That actually still worked when I sold it. But the little like go-kart thing that came out of the back of it and separated from the Mack truck, one of those wheels broke off, and my dad like quote unquote fixed it by just super gluing it back on, so it never wheeled again. But that didn't stop me from playing with it. Yeah.
No, that as long as it still was functioning, it was going to get
Yeah.
used. Yeah, that's why that stuff is so important. Because I had Gator. That was the end. That's the only one I ever owned until I bought Jackhammer, what 2-3 years ago, and I eventually at some point get Steve's shit, because I had a buddy that was like you, Bob. That again, I'm not saying you're spoiled, but I mean you seem to have like a lot of the toys. This kid that I graduated with, his grandma like just if there's a new Bebop and Rocksteady, she knew the ladies that worked at Ben Franklin. So I don't know if she must have like, hey, I'm looking for these specific people for my grandson. So I don't know if that was like some little insider deal there, but he would get pretty much every figure, every like play set. But at the time you're like, well, it sucks that I don't have it, but I'm glad I'm friends with this dude that has them.
Right.
I'm like, I will take full advantage of like being friends with this kid. So that was the thing, like pretty much every Nintendo game. I mean, that's where I learned about Kid Icarus. It's like he just had everything. But then too, as a kid, you're like, man, go home and like, I wish I had at least one more of the mask toys. I don't even care if I have the Boulder Ridge, I'm like, I just want to have like one more. I want the oil truck or something. I just want something. But yeah,
Snake oil.
it's you sit there and you wish, and like that's why so much of that stuff still is so important when other people are probably like, who the fuck cares? You're gonna pay X amount for a fucking toy from the mid '80s, and it's not like something
Yes.
like a blue hollow foil like Cabbage Patch doll or something like that they're only 100 made or something. It's like, no, that when you've been in this stuff for how long, collecting cards, collecting whatever currency, collecting comics, collecting figures, collecting whatever you collect, the stuff as a kid is always going to resonate more than the stuff now. You can tell the people that started the last 5-10 years because there was zero attachment to it. Zero. Now, I say that because maybe you'll say, well, Michael sells stuff. But Michael sells stuff in order to get other stuff that is of greater importance. But it's also in the same vein. It's not like you're selling the Favre Shield to pick up a Contender's Cracked Ice Jordan Love.
Oh, God.
If that were happening, I know where you live. I can pretty much figure out and remember where you're at.
Yeah.
So remember, it was by a park that was fucking loud with stupid rice burners.
Yes.
So I'm like, I can go down there and I can hit him on the back of the head for doing such foolish and egregious transactions.
Be necessary.
But when you sell all that other stuff and you're like, well, that's a lot of stuff. And it's like, well, but that's the payoff. It always collectively makes sense. If I have to sell these to get that, and that's basically the only means if I have to sell the lowest of the high, I will do that to get that card. Will I regret not having these? There's going to be a possibility, like I might miss them, but I can always look at what I just bought and say, well, I really like that one a lot. Those ones, I like a good portion of it, but that one, that stops me dead in my tracks. So always hearkening back to that, like finding that special card, finding some sort of comic where it's like a variant cover artist autograph, finding the toys, even if it's something that was mass produced, but it's either in the box or it's one that doesn't have a door that's busted off. It's got all the components to it, that all the levers and everything works perfectly fine, and you can just sit there and like, if I can get like 6 or 7 of these things, I'm gonna sit down and fucking play with them, because I didn't have that chance as a kid. So I'm like, I don't care if I'm 44 and I'm playing with mask toys. I don't give a fuck. That's something that's fun, because I could sit there and like live that alternate childhood that I didn't have, but I still appreciate and learn to love the childhood I had.
Right.
At the same time, with even not having copious amounts of stuff, but in the reality, you had stuff. You had friends you could go fuck around with on bikes, build forts, throw snowballs, go sledding, just do whatever. You had that. You had stuff that was fun. Sometimes in the moment you just don't realize it.
Very true.
Yep.
So Vincenzo. So we're already at 2.5 hours. So there won't be any opening live on the show. FYI.
There's always next week.
I ain't waiting until next week. So
Bob,
so
I do
Vincenzo,
remember. Oh, go
what's
ahead.
your I was going to say, what's your number one?
Bob, I do remember Silverhawks, so I remember those. They had like lasers in their shoulders and stuff. my number one's probably cap guns and like toy weaponry. Because I had stuff that shot bullets, that shot discs, that shot water. If it was a firearm or a knife or something like that, I had an arsenal. I had the Rambo M60, I had an M16, I had an AK, I had a Uzi, I had a Thompson, I had shotguns, I had everything. If I had
Remember the little yellow pellets, like the little yellow like air pellet things? Yeah.
I had those. I had a James Bond. I remember I bought it at Century 3 Mall, Bob. I bought
Nice.
It was a round little cap. It took one cap. It was a Walter PPK, which is James Bond's pistol from back in the 80s, 70s, 60s, before he went to a more modern Walter, I should say. I had a bazooka. I had an LAW that shot like a freaking thing out of it, and it shot streamers everywhere. I had a lot of crap. I had grenades that put a little cap in the bottom, and you throw it, and when it hit right, all 6 little disc things would pop.
Because it was bottom heavy. I remember that.
Yeah.
I had one of those.
Yeah. So, I had a Beretta 92F. I had a Ruger Mark II. You saw that one down there. I used to have that one. 45s. I had all kinds of guns. That was my thing, and it's probably why I still have a firearm. I like to hunt when I was never shot much because I don't shoot things unless I eat it. But it was just a joy of shooting. I used to shoot a lot when I was younger. From when I was very young, very, very young, like 4. So it's always something that was with me. And I always dreamed of having all the toy guns I had when I was a kid, having the real guns when I was older. That didn't happen. So, yeah, but that was fun. And then I just saw another toy from our childhood. I don't know. Do you remember Starcom?
Oh yeah, with the magnets on the feet.
There you go, with the magnets. And I remember I was sick one time, and I had like 101 temperature, and my aunt came from work, and she's like, "What's wrong?" I said, "I think I'm dying." And she's like, "I'll go up to Fisher's Big Wheel and get you a toy. It'll make you feel better." And yes, it made me feel better. But I remember she got me a Starcom toy, and I only had one, but it was cool because it had magnets. But that's one of the other ones I was thinking. So, and then I was just looking. There's cap guns in the boxes still from the 80s. Giancarlo and Laramie in the boxes, and they're a couple $100, but man, bringing back memories. That I had the rifle that was from, it looked like the rifle from G.I. Joe. So I was just like, whoa, that I had all that. And then that's probably why C loves Nerf guns so much. She has, ever since she was a kid, she saw Nerf guns in the store, and we'd just buy Nerf guns, and we'd have Nerf gun battles here. And she has one that's it's on a track. It's like a tank, and it has a clip that goes in it, and you could drive it with it has a video camera on it, and you can drive it, and it shoots darts. Then she has my granny bought it for her. It's a automatic 30 caliber, and it has 2 drums you drop on top, and it's battery operated, and it's slick as shit. So, and then she has ones that shoot discs and big balls and little balls, like ACDC. I got big balls, you got big balls. So those things. And Axel saw one when he was over here, and he's like, I want one. And so we bought him his first Nerf gun, and Shelby told us which one to buy. So I said, I said it shoots the little pellets. I'm like, I don't think that's what you wanted, Shelby. But because Remy will end up eating the ammo. But it's just fun seeing them getting older now. And we bought them bumper cars, and Remy, who's one, drives that bumper car like there ain't no tomorrow. I said she looks like Paul driving a crane. Just moves like no one taught her, no one told her how to do it. Her brain, I don't know. The kids like Cece, when they were kids, they just did things, they just did it. And you're like, how the heck did you figure it out? I just figured it out. So it's amazing the intelligence level. I just think we were, I don't know, we were more feral back then. I think that's a good term for us, our generation. We were like thrown in the pit and said survive and go out and do something.
Entertain yourself.
Yeah, we'd go down to the dump with a BB gun and I'd shoot cans for 5 hours. And I'd go to GB's and I'd buy a big ass thing of BBs and pellets. And I'd go down there with my pellet guns and just shoot until I couldn't shoot anymore. Then I'd sit there and try to find the pellets and the BBs to shoot some more. and after a while, that got tedious. But that was just fun. That was shooting pellet guns was big part of my youth. My brother with his bike, he always had a bike. I never had a bike. I don't even know how to ride a bike. So,
so you can't use that expression.
No, I cannot, Robert. But my brother, all the kids' bikes in the neighborhood, if they'd break, my brother would sit there with another kid and he'd fix bikes, and that's how he'd make money. My tire, something's wrong with it, and he'd look at it and do this, and he'd patch it and pump it up, and boom. My brother had a full tool set at age 5. I mean, there wasn't power tools back then, but he had hammers and screwdrivers and a pump and all this other stuff. So we were entrepreneurs before we were anything, because we wanted stuff and we figured let's make money. We were the Gary V's of our day.
I'll say one last thing. So 2 things that weren't mentioned that I'm sure we can all relate to on some level were Legos and like McDonald's Happy Meals toys. Like getting those were awesome. And as much of the stuff that as I know that I had, I was not the kid that had a Power Wheel.
No.
Never had one either. My sister did. My sister got the Barbie Corvette for Christmas, and inside that Barbie Corvette was my NES. That was what Christmas morning looked like that year. I had the NES inside the Barbie Corvette. That was incredible.
Love it.
Yeah, Legos was in my honorable mention, and then the WWE Hasbro, where each of them had one had the sort of side turning that would give you a clothesline. One you could sort of push down on the shoulders and it would spring out.
Yeah.
Akeem and Andre, you could sort of pull them back by the head and they do like a belly bump. I think one of the Bushwhackers and then DiBiase, if you pulled up his arm, the leg would come up and then you let it go and the foot would come down. So, and Hogan had, I think, a bear hug sort of somebody had one where you could go like that and then come back out. So, and then the ring, you had title belts. And I played the shit out of that. Too.
Remember the ones that were rubber?
The LJNs.
Yeah, the dog toys.
Yeah. My brother had a bunch of those. Hillbilly, I can just remember Hillbilly Jim.
Or the one you'd stick your thumb up their ass.
Yeah. Yeah. And they were like this. The legs
Yeah.
were, yeah. It was like, I remember Nikolai Volkov, who really wasn't Russian. He was Croatian Italian, which is pretty funny.
The more you know.
Ding, 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 ding.
All right, I need to get off so I can go to eBay. So
Yeah.
I already was looking myself, Bob.
Next week it'll be showing off the new toys we bought.
Yeah.
yeah. You had that Lino sword, dude. I wanted that sucker.
Yep.
And didn't you press a button and the red thing lit up?
I honestly can't remember that.
Yeah. Only thing that sucked about that sword, I wish it would have. It was only like this big. It was like the collapsed version that stuck in the claw. I don't remember one that extended.
No, it was the smallest among the swords for the cartoons for sure.
Yeah, because his sword was short, and then when he said thunder, Thundercats, it would grow.
Yeah, it got bigger. Yeah.
And then he had that claw thing. I don't know if they ever had a claw.
I feel like they did.
Well,
yeah, I feel like they did too.
Well, they had it for Nintendo. The power.
they had it.
And they had the toy even where it came with this little thing that you put a battery in. It had a metal like nipple on it where you stuck it in the back and like then his eyes glowed or something.
See, Bandai redid them in 2011. So that's not the original stuff.
We don't care about that modern stuff any.
Yeah, that's that re-release bullshit. Thunder.
Which I watch a lot of toy channels on YouTube actually. And it's interesting to see how like the similarities between hobbies. But one thing they say like the Eternia for Masters of the Universe, like it's like a $3,000 in-box toy. And then they re-released it not too long ago, and how that affects like vintage markets. Like, why would I want to like? I think He-Man did that across the whole line, where if you had, you had the original inbox, the price would be affected almost negatively because of like a re-release of something. It's also interesting. None of us really mentioned any like comic book toys, like no superhero stuff.
Oh,
I didn't have any of it.
No.
Yeah.
I kept
no Batman.
See, I don't remember. I remember like it was always like Saturday morning cartoon or movie based. I don't remember like now or like the last 20 years. Maybe since like McFarlane's really started coming out. When you get the high scale like that, and then you get like a Batman comes out or the Joker, and I mean,
as big as '89 Batman was for all of us growing up, you'd think like it would have had. I don't know. Maybe their toys just weren't around as much as.
I don't remember stuff from that. But again, like now, if we go to the store. If we go to a Target, a Walmart, a big box retailer, we'll just stroll past the toys or go down a couple of the action figure aisles just to take a look and see what the hell's going on. As a kid, I remember trying to be like dissuaded from like going over that way. Like we can't be spending any more money than we have to. Let's get what we need to get. Hey, you want some chips? Yeah, okay. Then we get chips and go to the checkout. And you sort of you don't forget about the toys, but you're like, okay, I'm not going to push my luck today. I got some chips.
Right.
A 12 or of Dr. Thunder or something from Shasta. I'm like, I'm living pretty good right now, so I'm gonna take that as a W. And as much as I want to see what toys are over there, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to go look to see what I'm not able to buy.
Yeah, I'm gonna get pissed off quickly. And KB and Prangy were in the same mall, so KB had. I still remember those Hasbro's were under $5 a figure. I remember that clear as day. I'm like, God damn it.
What was the other one? It was KB Toy Store and
Children's Palace and Toys R Us. Those were the three that
there was another one.
I only remember KB and Toys R Us.
Hold on. There was two of them in the Uniontown Mall. And it was KB's, and then 3 doors down was the other one. It was like
Superman. Well, you said 3 doors down, so that's the correct answer. Superman.
Walden Books.
Walden Books was there. I remember that Walden Books, and that was sort of the after Bonton. You went down a little farther, and there was Walden Books. There's actually a picture here of somebody walking into the Uniontown Mall. It kind of looks like me.
You remember what the arcade was called?
I don't know, but that's where I first had Scotto's Pizza, and then they got busted for
Wasn't it Aladdin's?
something like that. I remember it was pitch black in there in the 80s, and my
Yeah.
dad, we'd go get I get a slice of Sicilian and a slice of New York style pizza, have a Pepsi or a Coke, and then I'd go spend. My dad give me $5 in quarters, and I'd go in there and freaking play Star Wars and all that. Then when I got older, used to take $10 in quarters and just blow it for 2 hours while my mom got her hair done.
Double game.
Toys R Us. GB's was another one. Uniontown Mall was one mall that opened 1972 with GB. GB's was like a sort of a Walmart type store too. Family Toy Warehouse. Remember that, Bob?
Oh yeah.
Bob wants to go check eBay.
Bob's got to buy Castle Grayskull.
Wrap us up, Dave. Because we know Vinny can talk forever.
No.
Thank you all that watched. Thank you, especially if you're watching the archive and you bore yourself to tears with our rare reminiscing down memory lane. I like the top 5. I like it sort of where we can do our favorites, but this sort of like really puts a bracket on some of our long diatribes and dissertations.
It didn't help us this go around.
Well, again, it's tough with it when you're a kid, even as an adult. Like, what 5 toys? I mean, you have to pick 5. It's tough because I mean, maybe one year, like you said, He-Man's the one. Next year, G.I. Joe. Maybe finances turn positive. Then you get Mask, you get the Turtles, you get Nintendo. It just so much that occupied our time. It wasn't always just one thing. I mean, like slingshots. I remember that with the forts. I mean, we'd make slingshots or stuff like that. Where again, rubber bands and a stick. You didn't have what you have now. Shit already made. You had to fucking get the stick, whittle it with a knife that was sharp. And that's what you did too with if you played a fort. You had the fucking stick. You'd whittle it so you'd have something to throw at people. So, again, fun times. Childhood was good nonetheless. Sounds like across the boards. And that's all you can ask for. A lot of memories, a lot of good, some bad, but a lot of good. Good outweigh the bad. That's the main thing. So, till next week, for Michael, the Bear, Vincenzo, Steve, I'm Dave. This is the RP. Remember, collecting cards or toys is just a
No.
it's the friendships you forge along the way what really matters.
Love you,
Good
Steve.
night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Not everybody.
I hate you, Benny.
Thank you.